are something the whole universe is doing, in the same way that a wave is something that the whole ocean is doing.
Yeah, and then while I was there, I paid the doctor 20 mental cools to get an eye shine, so I could see in the dark. It was pretty intense, to be honest, but the worst part was actually getting it reconstructed, having my eyes rebuilt so I could see again in normal light afterwards. Just one of them really painful kind of experiences, but
yeah,
it helped at the time.
Well, now you have like superpowers from it, effectively, right? Is that how this works?
Well, yeah. I mean, being from Fury, I always have these kind of like innate skills and abilities. So I'm incredibly strong, incredibly fast, just ripped to all hell. But then when it comes to fighting monsters on dark planets, now I've got the eye shine, and the 20 mental cools is a pretty good price for that. It's it just happens. So yeah.
Nice. Yes, very cool. All right. Shout out to PMSing Chicken, tier 1 sub for 22 months. Says love ya. Thanks, man. We love you too. Glad to see you still around after such a long time. 22 months. Yes, that's
a huge amount of time.
That's a while.
Yeah. A1A as well with 8 months of subscriptions. Thank you very much, dude. And Jay Shuft has just come back for 15 months. 15 months as well. Wow.
Heck yeah. Thanks, guys. Lots of people commenting on my haircut. Yes, I got my haircut the other day.
And the beard trim.
And a little bit of a beard trim. Yeah, I was getting a little too wild. I figured I should probably look a little bit more professional now that I'm starting up the Behind the Keyboard series. First episode next Friday, confirmed.
Excellent.
So yeah, I should look a little bit more presentable for that because I'm aiming for a little bit more of a professional vibe than it used to be. So
sure. Are you going to share who the guest is, or are you going to wait and surprise people?
Keeping it a secret.
Nice.
It's gonna be a good one though.
Cool. Looking forward to seeing that then. That sounds good.
I'll tell you, of course, if you actually care later, but not publicly.
Yeah, whatever.
Yep. Someone asked me if I lost weight. Yeah, I'm down about 40 or 45 pounds over the last couple months. So yeah,
which is
huge.
It's really well done on that, man.
Yeah, I'm really excited to try to get to my next goal. My next goal, I started at. This is gonna surprise a lot of people, but because people often guess that I'm way lighter than I actually am. So I started at about 310 pounds. Mind you, I am 6'4" or 193 centimeters or whatever that is. So I'm kind of just big. I'm just a big person. So my first major goal weight is about 250 pounds. That's going to be my first huge milestone, and I'm about 11 pounds away from that now. So looking forward to getting down there, trying to get a little healthier. I'm not getting any younger, and my body is constantly reminding me that. So trying to work on getting healthy.
Yeah, it's absolutely awesome, man. One of the hardest things in the world is to try and lose weight, so I'm really proud of you for doing that, dude. It's really awesome to see that. Yeah.
Thanks, guys. You guys are too wholesome. Mr. Petrov says, Brian going on date night tonight after the shop, maybe? No. I have no real plans after the show. Maybe doing a little keyboard prep for the upcoming Seattle meetup on Saturday. So getting a little prepared for that.
Nice. Jay Shuff also donates 500 awesome Quakems bits. There you go, do some well done bits.
Thank you so much, Jay Shuff. It was very, very kind of you. Oh man.
Stash says that he went down from £265 to £195 in the past couple of months as well. So
wow,
good to see some other people are on that kind of health train. So well done, man. Appreciate
70 pounds in just a couple of months. That's impressive. Yeah,
huge.
That is huge progress. That is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, Panguin, thank you very much for the 8 months of subs. We really appreciate those, dude. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Talisman says, "Does someone just hit up Quakems for a date?" I don't know. Anyone in chat want to date me? I don't know. Maybe maybe I can find my soulmate in the keyboard community, Jay.
Maybe. I think absolutely everyone in the community wants to date you, Brian. Yeah.
Yes. I feel like I'm pretty good at relationshipping. That's what I'll call it. It's a word now.
Sure. Yeah, relationshipping. Yeah. Okay. I'll go.
And I like keyboards.
Hard to believe. What more could you want in life? Hard to believe.
Right? I know.
Someone who is an absolute unit, likes keyboards, and is good at relationshiping. That seems like a a win-win situation, guys. So if you do want to date Brian, please get your applications in. I'll set up a form later on, and we can do it kind of like a speed dating thing. You can date one of you each week, and then we can have a bit of a playback in chat. Maybe you guys can report back on how Brian was as a date, and Brian can say how you guys were as a date, and
can we then
you hit it off or not?
Can we then compile all the data? Because I think everyone would absolutely love that.
Sure, keyboard Love Island, right? That's what it is.
That's right. It'll be like Melody says in the chat. It's like The Bachelor. Top Clack presents The Bachelor, so it'll be like that, but keyboard-ish.
Top Clack presents the keyboarder.
I like it. I like it.
Subtext: who is really, really good at relationshiping. Yeah.
Yeah. Particularly using the word relationshipping, because I think that's just fantastic.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely. There we go.
Oh man. J Chef donates another 123 bits and says 1,000th of a talisman bits.
Wow. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Is that what it is?
I don't,
it is as well.
I haven't actually looked at the overall. Oh yes, you were right. Rounded up, of course.
Rounded, yeah, but yeah, close enough.
It's been a while since I've actually looked at the leaderboard. Japanese horror writer made it to the top 3 now.
Oh shit, he has.
He's got It's like he donates like 1,000 bits every single episode.
That's really cool. So he's been doing that for 44 weeks.
He's very consistent with that.
Absolutely consistent, yeah. And he's a really nice guy as well. He's been chatting to me over the past couple of days.
Super
Very
nice
nice guy.
Yeah. Very, very nice.
One of the good ones. One of the good ones.
Hydra ZP also subbing with Twitch Prime, putting that Twitch Prime benefit to work. Love seeing that. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Yeah, you may as well use them. If you've got Twitch Prime subs, you may as well give them to your favorite content creators, guys, whether that's us or anyone else, because someone might as well benefit from you having those. So
yeah.
Definitely take a look at that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know. If you have Amazon Prime, that means you have one free Twitch Prime subscription. You can give that to your favorite Twitch streamers, whether it's us or someone else. Just make sure you're using it because it's free and it just helps out people.
Absolutely. Sweaty Yeti, thank you very much for the 300 bits and whatever that other is. Is that 350?
It's usually 50. It's usually ending in 50. So we're gonna say 350 there.
Yeah, let's go for the 350. Yeah, 350.
Oh, the hype train has officially started.
Choo choo!
Oh man, fantastic. Clavier asking for uptime. We're not cool enough to have the uptime bot, but we've been live for officially 13 minutes and 20 seconds. Well, if you include the starting soon screen, we've been live for 13 minutes.
PMS and Chicken with 1,000 bits as well. Thank you, dude.
Thank you so much, guys. You guys are...
Eskimo just saying, it's hype train time. It's, the train's a hype town, right?
Oh my gosh, the hype is real. I1A gifting 5 tier 1 subs. Thank you so much, man.
Oh man, thank you, dude.
Oh my gosh. If you're joining us now and you have no idea what's going on, this is our typical pre-show for the Talk Fact Thursday episodes. We will officially go live in about a minute or so. So now we're kind of just hanging out, making sure everything's going well, and just letting people kind of roll in before we officially start.
Yeah, Gio with the 100 "My horn is amazing" bits because he's using a little cheer wall, and Hui with 500 bits as well. Thank you very much. Mountain Blocks with the 1,111 bits. The hype train is moving. All aboard of the hype train.
Yes, thank you, thank you so much. No,
Eskimo Joe complaining about. He says hype train always delays the show start. Shaking my head.
It's not going to delay the show start today. We're starting in about a minute, regardless.
400 bits from Gio as well. It says Thursday night, baby. Nice.
Oh man, Gio with the Craigasm. Did Gio just get younger or something? He's got the cheer wall now.
Yeah, the cheer wall.
The cheer wall's great. I like that. I've never seen that before.
It's cute as hell, right?
It is.
Apart from the fact that he dies at the end, but yeah.
Well, yeah, death maybe not the most wholesome thing.
But it's cute. It's cute. It's a cute death.
It is cute. All right, it is officially 6 o'clock, so we're going to officially start the show. Also, quick shout out to Fortuna for the 81 bits. Thank you so much, guys. And I'm going to roll the intro, and we're going to get right into it. Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's episode of Top Clack. I am your host, Quakums, as usual, joined by my lovely co-host, Jay, and we're going to talk all about this week's recent keyboard news and other things of that nature. We will have a Q&A at the end of the stream, as we always do, so if you have questions, make sure you save them for then. And, yeah, otherwise, it's going to be a pretty good show. We have a relatively short news doc, but there's a lot of pretty interesting things happening this week. It's tiny, and just momentarily, we are going to start a giveaway as well. So, look forward to that. But anyways, Jay, how are you doing on this fine early morning for you?
Yeah, 2 a.m, feeling good, hyped up on coffee. I got some really nice goodies in this week, and some more goodies coming hopefully next week as well. So, yeah, it's an exciting week.
Nice.
So,
nice.
yeah, feeling good.
Nice. Well, I mean, if it was an exciting week for you to get stuff in the mail, I think that's a good segue to start our mail call. I will start this week because mine is incredibly short. And, you know, Jay, as usual, has everything in the entire universe. So
No, I don't.
You do. You do. And there's no getting around it. So I got a CRP set in, courtesy of someone from the Top Clack Discord who sold it to me at a pretty affordable price. I've never tried a CRP set before, but you know, I've heard a lot of mixed things, but I felt like trying it out for myself, so bam.
Yeah.
I got a CRP set. I'm going to put this on a board after the show. I have no idea what it's going to go on. Probably my Kepler, and then it'll come with me to the Seattle keyboard meetup on Saturday.
Nice. I do like CRP, and I'm really happy that in the next round they're going to do ISO support, which is the one thing that they're missing. So yeah, I've got them from my few ANSI boards, and I think you'll really enjoy them. As long as you've not got crooked caps, you'll be all right. But,
yeah, well, a couple of the mods seem a little warped, but I've also fixed warped PBT caps in the past using fire, because I'm a caveman. Fire. Yeah, and I was able to actually accomplish it pretty well. So if I have any issues, hopefully I can just resort to good old fire, and we'll see what happens.
Awesome.
Not that I'm suggesting people use fire to fix their keycaps, but I've done it before, at the very least.
Cool. Yeah, I usually use the kettle and hold it over in the steam, and then
that makes a lot of sense too. Actually, I never really thought about that. Maybe I'll try that.
Yeah.
That seems a little safer than I used a lighter last time. And it took me like 20 minutes to fix the cap. I was so delicate with it, delicate.
So what I'll do is I'll get a piece of flat wood and I'll get some clamps and I'll clamp it down onto the flat wood, and then what I'll do is I'll hold it above the kettle in the hot steam and then leave it overnight, and then when I take the clamps off, they're usually pretty much perfectly flat.
Okay.
So that's how I usually do it.
How long do you actually apply the steam for?
30 seconds, something like that. Maybe a minute at most. Just literally hold it over the kettle whilst it's in the boiling mode. You know, so from when the kettle starts to bubble until it clicks and turns itself off, and then just hold it for another 10 seconds until there's no steam left. Yeah, that's about it. Nice.
I like that. Maybe I'll try that. That's way more elegant than what I was doing.
Yeah. I think the other way, I think, as Eskimojo has just said, is you use a hairdryer and just heat them up with a hairdryer. I'm not sure what this action is, but that's hair drying action.
That makes sense. I don't own a hairdryer, so I'll have to go over to maybe my girlfriend's and do it at her house.
Good excuse for date night. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Hey, babe, I'm coming over to fix my CRP set. I don't know what you're doing tonight, but...
I'm going to play with some PBT.
Oh, yeah. All right, Jay, what did you get for mail call this week?
I got a few things. First of all, big shout out to my keyboard.eu for sending me a couple of desk mats. So they sent me, I haven't opened these yet, so they sent me this one, which is kind of like got blue and pink crosses on, like crucifix. I also got the 8008 one as well. So this is the desk mat for that. So I haven't opened those as yet, but I probably will do, and they'll probably be on my next build stream. I also got 2 new keyporas in, so I haven't actually looked at which ones these are yet, but I did get 2 new keyporas. So there we go. They were from the group buy that happened a month or so ago, mid-December I think it was, kind of like fulfillment sale. I did get this, which I haven't opened yet, but I know exactly what it is. This is a Pro Micro, so this is from, I won't show the other side, but it is from Thomas Bart's splitkeyboard.com website, so yeah, got that as well. I also got in some new gaskets too. So for those that you know, the JO2 uses an internal gasket mounting system, and one of the big problems is that they're really difficult to keep in place. So these ones now have adhesive on the back.
Ooh, fancy.
So I will be testing those out on a build stream at some point soon. So there's all 3 layers here and with different bits of adhesive on. And then I got 2 things which I'm really, really excited about as well. The first one is I got this. Now, I don't know if you can guess what it is from that, Brian.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Okay, I don't know. That case looks really similar to the switch openings from Tanyu Labs or whatever.
It does, but it's not that. What it actually is this.
I should have just looked at your mail call list, Jay. Then I would have. Then I would have actually known.
Right.
Wow.
So this came in the other day. This is really cool. Like the machining's lovely, and the color's great, and it's the ISO Macropad. So yeah.
Is that the one with the top-mounted polycarbonate plate?
It is. Yeah. Can you see the polycarbonate in there?
Oh yeah, very very clearly. Yep.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. So it comes with PCB and all the other gubbins it needs as well. The little case that it comes in is pretty cool. So it's kind of got like a little netting on the top, and there's other PCB tucked behind there, and some screws and all sorts of other bits and pieces. So yeah, really happy with that. So yeah, really happy to build it. I think I'm gonna build that on stream on Sunday as part of whatever else I build. I haven't decided which board I'm gonna build on Sunday yet, but I'll do that at the same time because it makes sense to. It's one key. It won't take long. And then
it's a lot of soldering.
The other thing that came is this. So this is obviously a GMK set, and it's Handabite.
Wow.
So,
that's why the Udiki logo looks like that, is it?
Yeah, I think so. So I haven't opened this yet. So I figured I'd open this live on the show. So let's have a look at how Handabite.
There we go. Everyone's favorite GMK set in the flesh.
Oh, look at that. Oh, there's another packet inside. There we go. So, there we go, guys. That is what Handabite looks like. That is a beautiful shot of all the different colours there. There you go.
That's hideous, man. It looks so awful. Oh, I mean, it's disgusting in like an iconic sort of way, but there's no board.
Colours.
There's no board you put that on and it looks good. I'm sorry, Jay. It's just not. It's just not how it works.
It's gonna go on my my J80. I'm gonna take off the OG die subs from that, and I'm gonna put this on there. I think because it's got full UK ISO support in the base kit, which is great. So
that is certainly one of the redeeming qualities of that set.
For me, for me, it's absolutely redeeming quality. It does also come with some additional space bars in a lovely shade of yellow. So yeah,
sure, lovely, got it. Whatever you say, Jay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's it. That's everything I got this week. That's all of it.
All right. Well, that's once again, all of the world in Jay's mailbox. A shout out to Jay Shuff, who did earlier gift 5 tier 1 subs. So very happy about that. Thank you so much, man. He's up to 75 gifted subs now on the channel. That's crazy.
That's awesome.
That's a lot of subs.
Pub Goku as well subscribed to a 3-month streak, and he says, "How are you guys doing? I think we're both doing rather well at the moment. So thank you very much for reaching out, dude."
Yeah, I cut off like all of my hair, so now I'm cold. That's how I'm doing at the moment.
And Cheese17 as well. Thank you very much for the 10 bits, dude. We really appreciate those. That's really cool of you. Thank you, dude.
Cheese. Oh man, I want some cheese.
Yeah.
All right, so a couple quick announcements before we roll into our news doc and talk all about the delicious keyboard news that we have this week. So, like I mentioned earlier in the pre-show, we do actually have a little bit of a giveaway today, courtesy of Mountain Blocks and Sour. They have released, if you want to paste that link in chat, here's a quick little Google form. It's for one of these new archaic, I believe it's called Archaic, right? Let me make sure I got this right. So I don't sound stupid.
Yeah, that's the one.
Archaic MX shirt. So those went live just the other day, and they're pretty awesome. Jay, I think you bought one. I know I bought one.
I did. I think I bought 2 actually. Yeah, I bought
Oh, did
one
you?
for the wife as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And they decided to hit me up and ask if we would like to give away one of their shirts because they are awesome. So, bam! Thank you very much for letting us do the giveaway, Mountain Blocks and Sour. We greatly appreciate that. Make sure you guys join that. Of course, it's pretty standard giveaway procedure for Top Clack. It's going to go on for about a week, so that way everyone can have a chance to enter. You must be in the official Discord server, which is linked in there and also linked below the stream. Pretty simple stuff, guys. You just enter, hopefully you win. You have your choice of size, you have your choice of color. Yeah, so make sure to enter that. Of course, the link will be posted in the Discord after the stream, as well as the VOD on YouTube and the AOD. So no matter where you are, you'll be able to join that giveaway, and yeah, pretty good stuff. Make sure you join that.
Sounds awesome. Yeah. Which color did you go for out of interest, Brian?
Which color did I order? That's a good question. I think I ordered Midnight, if I remember correctly.
Okay, I went for the berry. I think that red looks really good. But
the berry?
I don't think all of them look good. Let's be honest. But I went for the berry one. Yeah, looks really good. Cool.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, big shout out to the Catfish Man for 8 months worth of subs, and Owie with 500 bits. Thank you very much for that. Thank you.
Wow.
Really
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Very, very kind of you. So yeah, make sure you join that giveaway, guys. And if maybe you don't win, but you still want to buy one, the link's in there as well. They're not expensive, $20 a shirt. I'm pretty much redoing my entire wardrobe with all keyboard apparel. That's just gonna be like my life now. So
Nice.
I'm gonna be happy to have this one in my collection as well.
Nice.
And yeah, another quick note before we do get into the news doc is I am actually going to be a guest on the keyboard show Inebriated tomorrow, which is pretty awesome. If any of you are unfamiliar with what Inebriated actually is, it's a keyboard stream. It has 2 hosts. I'm gonna blank on the names. Shiny and who's the other kid? Is it bad something? I can't remember. Why can't I remember? I haven't really talked to the other guy. Is it Bad Chad?
Yeah.
Did I get that right? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yes, with Shiny and Bad Chad, if as the name implies, the kind of idea is you talk about keyboards and you drink and everyone gets drunk and talks about keyboards. So it's a pretty fun and casual experience. I've caught several of their episodes. They seem like pretty fun guys. So I'm excited to go on there. We're going to drink. We're going to talk about keyboards. So if you want to see me get drunk and talk about keyboards with them, make sure you tune in tomorrow, 6 p.m. Pacific. I'll link it in the Discord as well before we go live.
Just to say as well, drunk Brian is a good fun Brian as well. I have first-hand experience of that, so yeah.
Well, I thought we weren't talking about that, Jay. People are going to start questioning us, you know.
Well, yeah, let them.
Yeah.
People be people, man. People be people.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to have some drinks. So make sure you tune in tomorrow to twitch.tv/Inebriated. Again, I will post the link in our official Discord beforehand as well.
Sounds awesome. Great.
Yes,
Cool.
and then also quick shout out for the Seattle meetup on Saturday. I'm going to be going to that as well. I'm going to be spending a lot of tonight and tomorrow prepping for that. So if you're in the Seattle area and you didn't know there was a meetup on Saturday, well, now you do, and come join. It's going to be at the Living Computers Museum. It's going to be a good time.
Nice.
It's free as long as you bring a keyboard. Otherwise, it's like $10, I think. Yeah, come say hi to me. Give me a hug. Punch me in the face. I don't know. Do something. But it's gonna be fun. Keyboard meetup's always a good time.
You're gonna have a black eye next week on stream.
I know too, right? It's gonna be great.
Because most people won't be able to reach to punch you in the face, but there'll be that one person that comes along that absolutely can, like Baron or something like that from the Smith and Ruin guys, who's an absolute unit and just will be.
That guy is built, man. That guy is he's stacked. He's stacked.
Yeah, like, but he's the nicest guy as well. Like I like he came over and I'm like, oh shit, what have I done? This was in Seattle in the summer. I was like, oh shit, is he a bouncer? Am I going to get told to leave? Have I done something wrong? And then he's like pointing around. He's like, "Hey Jay, it's me, it's Baron." I'm like, "Oh, all right, okay." It was completely a double take, yeah. But he's a really really nice guy. So Luke, if you watch him, love you, man.
Absolutely. All right, now is as good a time as any to jump over to our news doc. So let's talk about some interesting keyboard news that has happened this week. Starting with the interest check.
Keyboards.
Yeah. With the interest check for the Constellation 65%, which is a As the name suggests, a 65% keyboard, and it's a pretty interesting one for a few reasons. So let me just run off a few specs, and we're going to talk about what makes this board a little bit different from the others. So pretty normal 7-degree angle, nothing out of the ordinary there. Aluminum housing, clear-coated brass weight. The PCB is going to support QMK and VIA, and it's going to be USB-C. You're going to have your color choices between black, Aegis Navy, and Space Gray. There's also going to be an Influencer Red, whatever that means, and then one additional color that will be attributed to the limited Victory auction that I'm assuming that they're going to do. Something that's kind of interesting about this is instead of it being a group buy, this is actually going to be more of an in-stock item. So you're not going to have to do a whole lot of waiting for this. They are expecting the units to arrive in Q1 of this year. So expecting to stock at the Keyboard Treehouse very, very soon, which is pretty interesting. They're going to have kind of 3 waves to go about it. They're going to have kind of a friends and family sort of approach, then an early access approach, then they're going to do a public run in which they're hoping for at least 100 units to sell for that. So overall, probably not a ton of units, but hey, could be kind of interesting. What makes this board particularly neat is there's actually 3 mounting styles in this one board. Now, we have seen multiple mounting styles on one board in the past before, on a couple boards, in fact, including the G60, which ran somewhere around a year ago, I think. And that used a hybrid tray and top mount system. This one actually takes it quite a bit further, and it uses a three system mounting where you can either use top mount, gasketed sandwich mount, or O-ring gasket mount. So if you're unfamiliar with what the O-ring gasket mount is like, it's more of a gasket that sits between the plate and the PCB and kind of sits atop some standoffs in the bottom of the case. So this is a little bit more a la something like the OTD 356 Mini or the Gasket 00, which just had the public run a few days ago. So that's going to be a little bit more like that. And there's also a gasketed sandwich mount, which to me, at least in these pictures, seems a little bit more a la Key Cult style, where you have tabs on the plate right here, right here, right here, and right there. And then you have pour-on strips in the case or on the plate, and it kind of just sandwiches with pressure between those, and then you get an effective gasket sandwich mount. And then, of course, most of you probably already know what top mount is. That means the plate screws into the underside of the top part of the case, so you kind of get a little bit more flexi typing experience on that. So pretty interesting. What do you think about this, Jay? 3 mounting solutions on one board.
Yeah, I think it's really, really interesting. I think the only other board I have that's got multiple mounting solution is the Happy, right? The KMAC Happy. I don't think I've ever actually built it. I think it's still just sat in its box from when I first got it.
You have an unbuilt KMAC Happy, Jay?
I think so, yeah. I think when I didn't buy it in the group buy, I got it secondhand, but I'm pretty sure it was never built. And I don't think I've ever built it, so I'm pretty sure it's just sat there.
Classic Jay.
So, but if I remember, that did tray mount, top mount, and then kind of like a sandwich type mount as well. So it wasn't gasketed, if I remember rightly. I'd have to go back and double check. It's a long time since I've even looked at it. But yeah, it's I think that's the only other board I own that's got multiple mounting styles. So this is quite interesting from that perspective. I think the plate design is kind of unique because of that. It's got tabs for mounting and tabs for the 2 gaskets as well. So it's got screw ports, very similar to the Jane style ones, where the kind of grooves cut into the tabs rather than just a circle hole in the tabs. And then it's also got the long tabs that you'll use either of the types of gasket on. Either you'll sandwich it or you'll have an O-ring underneath that's stretched around the PCB switches between the PCB and plate. Around the switches. So really interesting that they've got the 3 different types for that. It's going to be interesting to see how different the board sounds in its different configurations as well. I think this will be one of the first times we'll actually be able to get a really good handle on how different mounting makes the same board sound, which is really unique, really interesting, and I can't wait to see that. So I'm really, really excited for that. In terms of look and style of the board, the board is quite limited. So in terms of the layout, you've basically got the non-blockered 65%. The only options you've got that are going to be included on the PCB are the choice of stepped caps lock and split or full backspace. That's literally it. Everything else is fixed. It's 100% ANSI, and it has a 1.25, 1.25, 1.25, 6.25, 1.5, 1.5, and then the 3 1U keys bottom row as well. So no blocker on there. It's not like many of the other boards we see today, the 65% layout that have a blocker. It's very, very similar to the original style of 65% we saw that's open. So like the M65A, you could do this particular option with. I think the Zephyr has exactly the same option for the bottom row as well.
The Zephyr is fixed 7U spacebar, so it's 1.5, 1.5, 7, 1.5, 1.5.
My Zephyr's in the background, but it doesn't have any caps on the bottom row of all things, so I couldn't check when I was looking. He's literally the only thing I don't have is the spacebar. But yeah, okay, so it's very similar to the M65A standard option. So it's really, really limited. There is no ISO support on this particular board, and there's no plans to include it either. So yeah, that's kind of it. In terms of the styling, I think this has taken some design cues from some other well-known boards. So you've got a very similar look from the side profile as to the Keycap board. So the Keycap number 160 and the number 1 TKL with that brass middle that goes 3/4 of the way across the middle, rather than going all the way around or anything else like that. It's very similar to that. It's also very similar to the Q as well from Quantric, that had a very similar kind of design, although that was the plate itself, whereas this is very different. In terms of the side profile as well, I just want to call out that it has got the kind of TGR style back corner as well, where you've got that angled piece, which is kind of interesting. I think the side of the board looks okay. What I would say is that these pictures are too artsy for you to be able to see any of the detail, though. There's a lot of artifacts going on in the background, and there's not any clear shots of what the board looks like from the back as well. So I would like some clearer shots for that as well. So there's a couple of clear top-down shots, but whenever you see any of the side angles and stuff like that, they're very artsy style shots, which does make it difficult to pick up on any details as well. A lot of blur in there.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean,
it would be nice to see that.
Yeah, the artsy shots are cool, and it really is nice for people to look at and to help promote your product.
Sure.
But when you're looking at like an interest check, you want as much detail as possible. Like you want everyone to understand exactly what's going on, and I feel like the artsy shots don't really portray exactly how this is going to look. It just kind of gives you a basic idea. But with that said, I do agree it does draw inspiration pretty heavily from Keycap boards and maybe some other products like from TGR or maybe AIO3. But it doesn't
side curve.
It really doesn't look bad in my opinion. I think it looks pretty nice. It's just I don't know. I know we were talking about this a little bit before the show, but like this board, the most interesting thing about this board is absolutely the three-way mounting styles, because that's going to allow people that maybe have only ever used top mount boards in the past to kind of alternate back and forth. Maybe try gasket for the first time. Maybe you don't like it, you switch back to top mount. It gives people a lot of variety, and it kind of got me thinking like, maybe this is something we're going to start seeing a lot more in 2020. People playing around with, variable mounting styles, because it seems like it's fairly possible. And now that a few people have actually, started to do it, maybe it's not as hard as a lot of us think. And
I don't think it's been hard before. I mean, actually, I tell a lie. There is one other board that I have that's got multiple mounting styles, and that's the E6.5, which you could either do as top mount or you could do as O-ring mount. But I'll be honest, that board does not benefit from using the O-ring at all. So, yeah, it's a fantastic board. I'm using it right now. It's a fantastic board as a top mount board, but because the O-ring was added into the design really late on in the design process as a kind of gasket. Gaskets are cool. I'm going to put a gasket in it. I don't feel like the board really works with the gasket solution. It kind of messes up the stabilizer position. It doesn't really add anything to the board. It doesn't even feel like a standard gasket mount board, but it works really well as a top mount board. This has been designed with those other ones in mind, and in fact there's one picture that shows the internals of the case, or you can actually see how the three different mountings work. So just on that, I assume Brian will have the picture up, but you can kind of see that it doesn't help because it's a really dark picture, so ignore the background around the top area, because that's just dark navy blue, and I think this board is actually the blue version of the board. This is the Aegis blue. Yeah, the Aegis Navy, whatever it is, rather than the black one, how it looks in the other pictures. But when you look at this, you can see the brass and you can see the blue board underneath, and you can basically see into the tray of the internals. So where you're looking around that brass area, you can see that as you look to the right of the top corner screw, you've got a couple of different points here. So you've got a ledge that comes up and around and down, kind of like a rhombus shape, and that's where the top mount part of the plate would go. So the plate will screw upwards from there into the top case. The second thing you've got is a kind of a rounded shape right in the bottom of the trough of the case as well, and that's where the O-ring gasket will sit and will provide pressure upwards. So as you're typing down, it'll hold the O-ring upwards. And then the third part, which is really difficult to see in this particular image, but there is kind of like, then there's a bar that runs right off the edge of the picture. That's where those tabs that we saw on the plate that Brian pointed out, that's where the big tabs would sit if you want to do the kind of the gasket mounted in the number 2 style. So there is a pour-on strip there. It is in the picture. You can see it.
Yeah.
It's very, very faint, so you might not be able to see that on stream, but if you look on your own computers, you'll be able to see that. And that's where the third plate mounting type sits. Interesting as well, something else to notice from this picture, that's got a rather nice alignment tab just on the side there. So when you put the top case on, you're not going to have too much movement. It's just going to slot into place, and that's going to help align everything nicely as well. So nice to see that kind of thing being added.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, final thoughts. It's a pretty interesting looking board. I'm really interested in the whole mounting style thing. I like the idea of being able to try different typing experiences on the same board without necessarily having to like rebuild it. I think that's a really appealing thing, because so many people complain about the way a certain switch feels or sounds on specific mounting styles, but here you can just swap back and forth at your own leisure, which is kind of attractive, honestly. I think it's a cool thing.
It is, yeah. I'm really interested to see how the boards are going to sound differently. So if you have the same build and you mount it in the 3 different ways, how different does that board sound as well? Because it's something that we've never been able to do really strict and stringent scientific testing on, because we've not had all of the different mountings in the same case. So,
and like I was talking about last week, it's like my biggest pet peeve is when people talk about how like a switch sounds, for example, but they don't actually talk about or think about the rest of the environment that's happening, as opposed to just having the switches or whatever. So here, this is going to be a great board to experiment on, because you're going to have a control. You're going to have a control that's going to be the same and consistent the entire time. It's going to be top mount the entire time, or you're going to have it in one of the varieties of gasket mount that are offered as well. So it's going to be really cool to actually test things in this board, because you're actually going to get that consistency, as opposed to just being like, this board sounds bad because of this switch. So, looking forward to that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think the only other thing that's going to be really, really interesting is the price for this as well. There's no mention of a specific price yet that I could see.
Which is a little scary. The board is somewhat complex, and that often translates into being not very cheap. I think if we had to put a price on this board right now, what do you think this is?
It's a 3-part case. You've got a brass piece, you've got for the center, you've got a top piece, you've got a bottom piece. That bottom piece has got some intricate details to be milled into it, from both the outside shape and from the internal shape, from what I can see. I think it's, I'd guess somewhere in the $500 region, maybe a little bit more. You've got multiple mount styles, so you've got 2 different gaskets that you've got to pay for to be included in this, and a set of hardware for the screws as well. Not much in terms of cost when you think about it, but if that adds, say $10 to the price, it's, something that's going to be more expensive than other boards.
Yeah.
The plate's kind of complex as well. I imagine that's going to be milled rather than laser cut. Depends on how it's done. It might be laser cut, actually. Looking at it, I don't think there's anything that can't be laser cut on there. Looking at it again, so that shouldn't be too bad. I think I want to.
I think you're on point. 500. I think 500 is the magic number here. Some people in chat are saying 450, 475. I would be surprised if this were as cheap as 450. I think 500 is kind of going to be the starting point on this one. But hey, maybe we could be pleasantly surprised. Maybe there's some kind of like black magic going on, and this is going to be like a $400 board. But I really do think it's going to be closer to the expensive side of things with everything that's going on here. But we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see.
Absolutely. Cool.
All right, let's move on to our next interest check, which is the Prophet, a board that a lot of people know about, but has never actually been publicly launched before. So, of course, they did have a private run previously to this. Jay was, in fact, part of that, and he does have one of the boards, so we have a little bit of insider knowledge on that. But I'm going to run off a few specs for you, for those of you that aren't aware of the Prophet. So 6-degree angle here, pretty standard. You're going to have your choice in tops between HHKB, win keyless, or standard 60%. Colors, there's going to be apparently 3 of them, but they are still being decided with the interest check form that is linked in the thread. But all units will come with a black base. Plate options here is where it gets really interesting, in my opinion. You're going to have your choice between polycarbonate, nylon, or polypropylene. which is pretty cool. So those are all going to be available in either full plate or half plate, so whichever one you'd prefer. The included PCB is going to be QMK, presumably, and it's going to feature a 7U bottom row only. So you're not going to be able to use 6U, you're not going to be able to use 6.25U spacebars, but if you absolutely have to, or you really, really, really want to, this case is going to support most standard 60% PCBs with that left side USB port. Particularly if they're USB-C, you might have some compatibility issues with USB Mini, mostly on the cable portion of that, depending on what kind of cable you use. Some custom cables a little too thick to get into specific ports. But some other PCBs might actually work in here as well, so that's pretty cool as well. And yeah, let's talk a little bit about the mounting system here, because that's one of the more interesting things about this. We don't see this particular style very often. They do have a GIF here that does kind of show it off a little bit, but it's still a little difficult to tell. But can you explain how the pin mounting system works for this?
Yeah, it's probably easy to see on the static image, to be honest. Yeah. So the way it works is it's inspired by another board called the 661, which was done by KBDfans, but Max was explaining in chat the other day it's slightly different. So effectively, how it works is there's 4 pins in each of the top of the case corner. Now it's a seamless design, so you've got an internal wall and an external wall. So on the internal wall, you've got a pin in each of the 4 corners of the board. So just 4 pins. The plate kind of sits across the whole of the edge, and it's milled to match the exact edge all the way around. So it sits and it's sandwiched and it lays on the edge all the way around the board. So theoretically, you could just do without the pins and put the top case on, and it should theoretically hold in place as well. But what the pins do is the pins help with alignment, so it means it's not sliding around left to right or laterally or horizontally or vertically, and it's kind of pinned in place as it were. So it helps with alignment. And the other thing as well is on the original implementation of the 661, the top case compressed the plate into those pins, so there was no movement. Now, the way Max explained it in chat the other day is there's actually a gap between the top case and those pins. So there's a small gap, which means that the plate has room to move vertically. So in the case, the plate can come up. So when you're pressing stuff and you're applying downward pressure, as you release it, there's an upward pressure to restabilize it and get it back to its center of gravity. So there is a tiny bit of movement within that. So I think he said it was something like 0.25 millimeters. It's a really, really tiny amount. Now, I don't know how much that affects the typing feel. I wouldn't profess to be an expert in that type of thing, but what I will say is the board does feel exceptionally nice to type on. Now, the way I have mine built is with the nylon plate, and it's a half plate as well, so there's no plate around the alphas, and the PCB does have horizontal consistency cuts for to try and keep the key feel even across the board as well. So I think the plate material is really going to affect how this board sounds. Now, before the group buy happens, I'll probably build my carbon fiber plate version as well. So I have got an ISO half plate in carbon fiber, so I'll be able to give a detailed description on how the different softer nylon plate feels compared to the harder carbon fiber plate as well. So I don't think there's any particular hard plates in this, and I don't think they're offering carbon fiber either. I think it's polycarbonate is the hardest material, but that'll be the closest I can offer a recommendation to once I build it. So that's kind of how the mount works. As I say, the plate sits across all of the edge and wouldn't push into the base if the pins were removed. The pins hold it in place and allow it a tiny bit of vertical movement on the rebound, as it were, from your typing feel on top. That's kind of how it works. But what I will say for the board is it looks great. It's one of my favorite looking boards that I own. I think it's a really nice design. Max is a legend when it comes to doing that kind of stuff. Mine's HHKB, I think. He says, yes, it's HHKB. I had to double check then. But I think if I was going to buy another one, I'd go for Win Keyless. The only other thing I want to say as well is that the board from the prototype to the actual production run has had some changes, as all prototypes are designed to do. There are some, there's always tiny little bits and tweaks and things to make. So the version I have, if you type too hard in the center of the board, and I'm quite a heavy typist, it can short out. That has been fixed for the production run, so I think the base has slightly more room underneath the PCB and plate. It shouldn't affect anything else other than stopping that shorting out as well. So be good to see that as well, and I'll hopefully be getting a revised base as part of the group buy. That was always my intention. So yeah, that's it. That's the board. It's a great board. It's a lovely board. Max is a great designer. He's a lovely human being, and he's always really, really kind. So go check it out.
Yeah, definitely. I know this was one of the boards that you brought with you to the Seattle Summer Meetup back in July, so I was lucky enough to have a chance to play around with this as well, and I completely agree. It's a fantastic looking board. It feels really, really great too. It's very unique. I believe you had the nylon plate configuration when you came over.
I do, yeah.
Was that a half plate or a full plate?
Half plate, so it's nylon half plate, which is really interesting as well, because I feel that this board could be quite loud if you used a firmer plate, but with the nylon plate it was almost silent even with standard switches. It was very, very quiet board. I think Max has linked in the interest check to a load of different sound typing tests as well, so you can get a feel for what the different plates and different switches may or may not sound like. Bear in mind that no sound typing test is ever 100% accurate, and your mileage may vary. Your results are going to vary. It all depends on everything else, desk and room setup and switches and how much lube you've put in there and all of those kind of other variables. But because there's so many different sound tests, it might give you a really good idea. You might be able to draw some parallels from that.
Yeah, certainly. Nylon plate definitely has my attention, but what about the polypropylene plate? What do you have any experience with that material at all, Jay? What do you think this plate's going to be like?
I don't. I only got the nylon plate. I imagine it's going to be really soft and flexible. In fact, I did see Max gave a bit of an update on that. Let me just grab this really, really quickly, because he gave a breakdown of what his view on each of the plates were.
Sure. While you're looking for that, quick shout out to Langolandia, who did sub at tier 1 for 9 months and apologizes for being late. You're always in our hearts, my friend, so you're never late. Don't worry. But thank you very much for the sub. And Iwane gifted a tier 1 sub to Time Lord Alonzi as well. So nice. Very nice. And Mr. Keebs coming in for the evening with a tier 1 sub for 10 months, saying good evening, gents. So glad to have you, Mr. Keebs. Always a pleasure to have you in the chat.
Yeah, Mountain Blocks, that picture on the edge of a table, I think that's actually a photograph of Chris Swires' prototype. It's not a render. I think that's actually
it looks real. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it is, yeah. So here is what Max said on the materials that he's offering. So I think, if I remember rightly, he's offering polycarbonate, polypropylene, if I can get the word out, polypropylene, and nylon. So for polycarbonate, it's a relatively solid material, easy assembly, has a really nice sound profile and a more traditional mounting methods top tray sandwich, softens bottom out considerably compared to metals. Polypropylene is the softest plastic, really softens out switch action in an interestingly uniform manner. Because it's soft, it absorbs a lot of the impact, so lends itself well to flex-focused applications. Nylon, my personal favorite, softens impact nicely like polypropylene, but has a stronger, deeper sound profile and excels in sandwich and pin mount. So those were his words, not mine. Those are his kind of views on the 3 different ones. So use that information as you will.
Cool. Yeah, very interesting. Let's talk about the price here. The estimated target price is $350 US. Mm-hmm. Not too shabby for a custom 60% these days. That's well within the realm of reasonable. And especially for the interesting mounting solution and the interesting plate options.
It's a 2-pack case, so you're not paying any extra brass pieces or anything else like that to bump the price up. So yeah, I think
this looks like a winner to me. This is one that I definitely am going to try to join. I think I'm going to aim for that polypropylene plate. It's just too interesting for me to pass up. So this is looking pretty intriguing to me. I'm going to try to get one.
Yeah, well, I think the MOQ is 50, but there's no upper limit.
There's no upper
sell
limit,
as many of these as they can. I wouldn't be surprised if they sell 100 or more of these. I think.
Definitely.
Well.
They are looking to launch this at the very beginning of March, so just a little over a month away, about 5-ish weeks. So get your wallet ready, guys, because it's looking like a good one. Definitely one of the more unique 60% we've seen in a while.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool.
Awesome stuff. All right, well, staying with the same theme here, we have another interest check from Max over at Cable Car Designs, aka West Foxtrot. This is the interest check for the Lockheed Macropad. This is a 3x3 Macropad with an aluminum housing, a polycarbonate bottom. As you can see in this picture, there are 9 keys. And it's actually going to be manufactured by Salvin, which is pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. And MyKeyboard.e will be the primary vendor. However, they are looking into other proxies as well. You can apply right here if you are a vendor. And the MOQ is 25, so pretty short. They're looking to run this in March or April, so just not too far away. At a starting price of around $90 to $100. Not too shabby, I suppose. And yeah, not a whole lot more info aside from that. But yeah.
Couple of things I want to draw out as well here. I have seen one of these in real life, Max, and I met up in a pub towards the back end of last summer. I think that he has 2 prototypes for this, one of his own and one's with Chris Swise, I believe. But the first thing I want to call out is that the outside edge is kind of not even all the way around by design. So there's actually a blue diagram on here as well, which actually shows that the shape of the external, it's all been drawn by hand. So this isn't something that's been rendered to be perfectly square on all of the sides or anything like that. And if you look at the shape of it, you can actually see that some of the hand-drawn curves are really, really nice. It's kind of like a really nice detail that some people might miss, but especially on that bottom edge, you can see that the curve on the left-hand side is a little bit shallower than the curve on the right because it's all been hand-drawn in. It hasn't been designed by CAD software as such. It's been a hand-drawn design, which is really, really interesting, really unique. It makes it have a lot of character, in my opinion. And I think it's just one of those tiny little details that people might miss that should be celebrated.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more artisanal in some way.
Exactly, that's the thing, right? It is.
Yeah.
It's this is an outline drawn by Max. Like the inside is the standard square with the rounded corners, with whatever fillet that is on there, 1.5 millimeters probably, something like that. But the actual outside of it has all been drawn by hand. It's kind of like a hand drawn design. It's not designed to be perfect. It's designed to be imperfect and be bespoke and artisanal, as you say. And that's a lot of the charm of this. And I really, really like it. I'm definitely going to pick one of these up because I think it's a great little Macropad. 9 keys is really cute, fun. It's perfect. What more do you need? You can use it for anything.
Yeah, exactly. Just because I'm going to bring this up, just because 256K in chat says no 0 button. So this is not a number pad per se. I mean, no, I guess in a way, if you set it up properly, you could use it as a numpad, but Macropad. Very big distinction. They are not one and the same. So to any of you that are watching that are like, where's the rest of the keys for this number pad? It's because it's not intended to be a number pad. It's a macro pad.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Very different kind of approach. But yeah, interesting looking product. The price seems pretty reasonable. Can't really complain. I want to see what the finishing options are going to be, because obviously they have a couple of prototype pictures here, and this one kind of has that. It's almost like a copper kind of finish, similar to the copper, antique or TX boards that they were doing for a while.
No, I think it actually is copper.
Is this one actually copper? Okay, because in the
from what I understand, it is actually copper.
Because in the post, let me make sure I get this right. I believe he said that the case is going to be aluminum. Yeah, okay, Here we go. It will be manufactured in 6063 aluminum and polycarbonate for the base, obviously. So we get to see this cool kind of copper version, but maybe we're not going to be able to get that, which is kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, I would love a copper one. When Max was ordering the prototypes for this, I wasn't aware of it at the time. So otherwise, I would have loved to have grabbed one of these in copper because I think it looks great. I think that was just Chris Swires being Chris Swires. I think the one that Max has, the one that I've seen, I'm pretty sure, if I remember rightly, it was black, and I'm pretty sure it was aluminium. I think that's Max's personal one. I could be wrong on that. I'm trying to remember from a drunken session in the pub when we were talking about this, and there was doggos and everything else around. So it's very difficult to remember. But if I do recall correctly, I think Max has a black aluminium version, but take that with a grain of salt. I might be wrong, but I think it is only going to be in aluminium, and then you're going to have either anodized or cerakoted options. But I would absolutely love to be able to get a copper one, raw copper as well, just so it patinas and ages nicely. That'd be absolutely wonderful.
Certainly, yeah, that could be pretty awesome. So we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, like I said before, the group buy should be starting somewhere in March or April. And there we can see all the finishing options, because I think that's going to be one of the deciding factors for me on this, at least, is what kind of finishes can we get on this.
Yeah,
obviously, Salvin offers a wide range of cool stuff, so we'll have to wait and see.
Yep.
All right, and sticking in the same theme as Macropads, there's another one. This one's pretty interesting too for some other reasons. So this is
really fun.
This is pretty interesting. So this is the interest check for the Binepad BN003 3-key Macropad, and I assume that this user's English is not the best if you read through the thread. So. There might be some things lost in translation here, but a couple of things that we do know is that it's going to be an aluminum housing. It's going to have an integrated plate. It's going to have a PCB that is USB-C and supports QMK, VIA, and has KL hot swap sockets. There's going to be a couple coating options. You're going to have either a clear coat on aluminum, or you're going to have a white powder coat. And the most interesting thing about this is the fact that it's supposed to be $50 shipped. $50 with free shipping.
Bargain.
And I will scroll down to make sure I get the location right here, because I believe this is coming from... Okay, no, I'm sorry. He said it actually later on in the thread. He is situated in India. So a lot of these orders presumably are going to be for him or her, international.
For sure, yeah.
Which, as any of us that have shipped internationally know, it's usually not very cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, even for like regular people shipping anything internationally, like regardless of size or weight, it usually starts around $15 US. You know, in which case, if we use that figure here, that would make this Macropad $35 to, you know, manufacture, and then of course you got to include stuff like, you know, QC, QA, time to pack, handling, you know, and then of course the shipping. But the product looks kind of cool. I get it. I'm not a Macropad lover. It's not really for me, but it's a cool looking product. The price just seems unbelievable. There's no way they're going to hit this price. I'm calling it right now. This is not going to be a $50 shipped product. There is just no way. It's not happening.
I mean, I think the thing you have to bear in mind is that the value of the dollar is very different in India to what it is, you know, in the US or the UK or any of the Western world. So it may be that is enough over there to you know, make a reasonable profit. You know, it could well have enough value to make it to make the numbers add up. You know, without knowing the numbers behind it.
I mean, I guess, but I mean, let's just take a look at this product right now, because it's not a super simple product. There's a lot of curves going on here. There's a lot of designs. There's multiple pieces. The PCB is very feature rich. The plate is integrated. It comes with these bump-ons at the bottom here. It's USB-C. Like, this is actually a decent looking product, and there's a lot going on here. I just can't imagine this being $50 shipped. That seems way too hard to believe.
It may do, and you may be right, but we have to consider it is in India. The value of the dollar is different. It may add up. Now, I really like this. I think the design is interesting. I think it's very different. It's very unique. I've got a soft spot for macro pads and keypads and different things like that as well. So I'm probably going to pick one of these up. Let's see how it goes.
At $50 shipped, you have to. You basically have to buy one of these because it's just that cheap.
Maybe that's what it's based on. Maybe he's expecting to sell an absolute ton of these, and that's helping to reduce the price through, you know, through economies of scale. So
that would be a bold move, Cotton. I'd love to see how that works out for him.
Hey, well, it either works or it doesn't, right? That's the thing, and that's the risk that anyone takes when they join any group buy. So yeah. I
mean, we're gonna have to wait and see, but I mean, it's a pretty cool looking product if you're into macro pads. The features are definitely there as far as macro pads go. Let's see if this price is going to be true, because if it is, it's I'm going to have to buy one. I don't even want one, and I'm going to have to buy one because it'll just be that cheap.
Yeah, right. The other thing as well is powder coating is not expensive, but it's not a cheap process either. It's not like paint to do.
Yeah.
It's got a cost to it. So the fact that the clear anodized version and the white powder coated version are the same price is really interesting as well.
Yeah. Mountain Block says in chat, and I completely agree, a proto would be confidence inspiring. I know. I completely agree. I want to see something beyond renders here. You got to have some kind of physical prototype, especially if you're going to be touting this kind of price.
Absolutely agree.
Got to see it.
Yeah, there isn't a prototype for it, as you say, but we do need to see. Interesting as well that he uses the R0 caps for the cherry profile keycaps as well. I don't know if you noticed that, but those look like R0. They're really, really tall. They are not R1.
It also, at least in this render, it kind of has this this gap thing going on that we, a lot of us painfully remember from products such as the M65A, where it kind of seems like it's supposed to be high profile, that it should be high profile, but it's kind of not. It's this weird kind of middle profile where there is a gap. Yeah. Where it covers, like a millimeter short. It covers a lot of the Switch, but it doesn't fully cover the Switch. A lot of people hate that, straight up. A lot of people dislike that. Either you go high profile or you go low profile. Anything in the middle is kind of just strange. And I kind of see that here as well. I would like to see that raised a little bit to just get that truly high profile. I think that'll make it look a little bit more premium. That'll make it look a lot more attractive. And it'll probably net them a lot more sales, if I'm being honest.
Potentially, yeah, and it wouldn't add much to the cost because you're still doing the same amount of machining. It's just slightly, you just don't go a little bit deeper, so it shouldn't be much different.
Yep.
In terms of cost, yeah.
Exactly. So we'll have to wait and see on this with bated breath because, man, that price could be a winner. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I really like the shape of it, though. I've got to admit, I do like that kind of whole, finger grabbing side.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like something you could like grab and like hold or carry around or something, like throw in your pocket or whatever. Which I mean, I don't know how many of us would actually do that with a Macropad, but it kind of invokes the idea of, and I kind of like that portability aspect.
For sure, yeah, I'm a big fan of this. I think it'd make a good stream deck. I do have a bit of a thing for Macropads, so yeah, I really like this. Yeah. Cool.
All right, well, let's move on to something that isn't an interest check, something that's actually in group buy, and this is the group buy for the Fallacy, which I think I'm going to start using the term Alice alternative. I think that's probably the most neutral term we can use.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't like using the word copy or clone, even though I think these are based on the open source files from the Alice. I think Alice Alternative is just a nicer way to say that. So this is by Cinepanos, and this is the Fallacy. And if you're a fan of the Alice and other Alice alternatives, this could be totally for you. But let me just run off a few specs here. Nothing terribly out of the ordinary. It is going to be top mount, big surprise. 6.5 degree angle, 16.5 millimeter front height. So it is actually quite short, which is pretty interesting. Aluminum housing, sandblasted brass weight. And the PCB itself is going to be QMK. It's going to be USB Mini, which is kind of interesting. No C here, unfortunately. And it is going to have some flex cut slots as well. So you can see that from this picture here. So a little bit of extra flexy typing experience, hopefully. And that's going to be pretty interesting. The plate material options are going to be aluminum, brass, or palm, which is my personal favorite out of those options. And the colors are going to be black, silver, navy, and pink. So what do you think about this? Is this just another Alice alternative? Is this pretty awesome?
Yeah, I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this. I think it's, I think it's absolutely fine, and people love the kind of Alice layout. I like that this is a little bit more closer to the original one in terms of that front curve design. It's fine. It's just fine. It's just another one. I think if I was going to pick any Alice clone on the market right now, it'd be Tengu. That's the one I would go for.
Same.
I'm not quite sure why I would pick this over that. And I don't want that to come across as negative against the Fallacy or anything like that, because I do like the board. I think it looks good. I think it's got the nice little finger hooks under the side, which I'm a big fan of. I think the weight looks good. The text use on the weight looks nice. I think that's fine as well. I just don't feel that there's anything that sets this one apart on its own. There's nothing that shouts to me that this is something that's a little bit different or it's got something unique or anything like that. It just feels like if I had this sat next to my Alice, I'm not sure I'd be able to tell the difference.
It's a top mount Alice alternative with a big brass weight and an aluminum housing and a couple different plate material options that are all fairly standard at this point in the community. Like you mentioned, Jay, it looks good. It looks nice. It's probably going to be a nice, solid board. It's just not that interesting. I mean, we're seeing a lot of these pop up now. The Tengu, another one. I think the Tengu has a little bit more personality than a lot of the other Alice alternatives, and for that reason, that's the one for me. That's the only Alice style board that I've actually put money in is the Tengu. So.
Yeah,
I voted with my wallet on that one, but
fair enough.
This is a nice looking board. I do think the Tengu looks a little bit nicer though, but
I mean, exactly how I said it. I mean, the only thing that this does have as a redeeming factor is it comes in pink, and I think the shade of pink on that particular prototype is really, really lovely. I really like that color.
That pink is fantastic.
Great color. It's even nicer than the original Alice pink, which is. Which was a really nice pink as well. So I really do like that colour.
Yeah.
But, I'm not quite sure. I mean, I guess if you wanted an actual Alice, I think this is a little bit closer to that original style than say the Tengu is. The Tengu's got different things going for it, mainly the fact that it's gasket mounted. It's got that lovely front curvature profile that we talked about when it meets the kind of front ridge as well. That's really, really nice detail. But this is fine. This is, if you want an Alice style board, this is absolutely fine.
Yeah. I would probably buy this over an Alice just because it would have so much more value towards like actually buying. Because I mean, obviously, a traditional TGR Alice is going to be outrageously expensive, just otherworldly expensive right now because it carries the TGR brand. So, I mean, this is very close to the original Alice, but it's going to be it's going to be a little bit more available, a little bit more accessible, and isn't going to cost you $2,000 or $3,000, which is a good reason alone to buy this. If you're in the market for an Alice, but you can't afford an Alice, I think this is actually going to be a very good alternative for that.
I completely agree. I think what's happened in the community is we've accepted that the Alice style layout is an absolute,
it's a knockout.
Bona fide well, it's a bona fide layout in the community now. It's as common as 60% or TKL or anything else now in terms of the number of boards that we see. What we need to see is more innovation in how the boards are designed around that layout, I think. So we see TKLs with all sorts of different stuff, with different side profiles, and we saw that one that has no screws from the outside the other week where it looks like it slides in. We've seen all sorts of stuff like that. We've seen all sorts of innovation in 60%. We've seen gasket mounted O-ring solutions. We've seen different types of case, different shapes cases, everything from tray mount to top mount and everything in between, 3-part cases, 2-part cases, the pin mount that we saw in the Prophet that we talked about earlier on.
Yeah, the triple mounting system of the Constellation that we talked about earlier.
For 65s, yeah. For
all
the layouts that we've got, we've seen a load of different stuff. The Alice layout has now become one of those de facto bona fide layouts within the community, but we just see the same candy bar curved bottom shaped boards that almost replicate the Alice. What we need to see now is some actually more innovation in how those boards look around it. If we can see it in TKLs with the badges and the lights like OG Matrix has and all of that kind of stuff, then why can't we see that kind of innovation and difference here?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, if let's take a look at this from another angle. Like, if this weren't an Alice alternative layout, if this were like a 60% or a TKL, nobody would be impressed with the specs. The specs are all exactly expected. They're predictable. Everything's generic. It's top mounts. It's a fairly standard 6.5 degree angle. It's got a big brass weight. It's aluminum housing. Top mount plate. Like, nothing is that interesting about this other than the fact that it's an Alice alternative.
Yeah,
I think that's okay right now, just because everyone's still kind of in the honeymoon stages of the Alice. So
standard 60 still sell, so that you're absolutely right, they do. But I just think we can see a bit more of it now. It's a fully accepted layout, and we completely, the extra B key is standard in so many
kits
now in GMK. Why not? Let's just experiment a bit more with the design. Take the layout and put it in a different shape or different style case. Do something a little bit different.
Yeah.
Let's be original, not derivative. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, it's a little too close to the original Alice, which for a lot of people that's fine. It's just not very innovative. But again, everyone's kind of still in the honeymoon stages of the Alice, so this is okay with a lot of people, and for right now, this is fine. I prefer the Tengu, just like Jay, but this seems like a pretty good alternative. This one actually is a little bit cheaper, I think, too. It starts at $420 base kit plus shipping, as opposed to the Tengu, which I think is $450 plus shipping. So maybe save a few dollars here if this is a little bit more your style. So there you go, guys. There you go.
Yeah.
Group buy is open.
Excellent.
All right, let's take a look at another. I guess you can kind of call this a group buy. I don't know if these are actually in stock. So let me just give a little bit of a preface here. I came across this link. People were talking about it in the Discord just a few days ago. TX of the prolific TX keyboard group are launching several new keyboards. So we recently saw them launch the what was it called? The EO87. I believe it was called, which was kind of like their acrylic TKL. Looked kind of cool. They have a few more things going on here. A couple of them I do want to point out, so I'm just going to actually, I have slightly the wrong link here, so I'm just going to kind of go back and look. Just start from the beginning. So the TX60 is now getting a V2, a version 2. The TX65 also getting a V2, a version 2. And they're also launching the TX66 and the TX66C. And to a lot of you people, that could be pretty darn interesting. So let me try to get some better pictures. I'm trying to find which one of these actually has the best pictures. take a look at the TX66, because they have a few pictures in pretty much all these. So all these are pretty much going to have these kind of new side profile cutouts here, this kind of wavy brass insert handle thing going on. It still looks like it's going to be a two-piece case, sandwich mount. It's going to be a weight at the bottom, like you can see here. So a little bit of a facelift. It looks a little bit different from the original TX boards, but all in all, a lot of it's still fairly similar, but I do think it looks pretty good. TX obviously has a very established reputation in our community. They've put out a lot of boards, done a lot of group buys, stocked a lot of items, made a lot of people happy. They put out a pretty solid product, all things considered, for a relatively reasonable price most of the time as well. So because of that, TX has kind of just been ingrained in our community now, and a lot of people like and respect them for that reason. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, new 60, new 65, and then they're also releasing the 66, which is similar to all the other 66 key layouts like we've seen on the Clue board, the Leopold 660M. What really caught my attention, though, was the fact that they're doing a TX66C, because if any of you have been around in the community long enough, you know that usually when you see 660C or 66C, something ending with C, that means it's a electrocapacitive version. So this is actually meant... I'm going to try to find a good picture of it. The pictures are laid out pretty poorly on this, unfortunately. But effectively what it is... Oh, here we go. So here's a picture of the 66 key. Effectively what it is it's going to be a aftermarket case for the Topra board Leopold FC660C, which is a fantastic Topra typing experience stock. Honestly, it's definitely one of the better stock Topra boards to type on in my experience. And now you're going to have a pretty epic TX aftermarket case for that, which is pretty awesome because we didn't really have very many of those before. The only one we really had before was the Heavy 6 from Norbauer, which is a very different approach on the matter. And here, we're going to have a new option, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I have to say for these new case designs as well, and you can see it when you're looking at that 660C cases, they look chunky. They look like they're going to be, they're just going to be robust and chunky and solid metal, and yeah, they're gonna feel chunky. So if you like that kind of thing, guys, this is going to be right up your street. If you want something a little bit more dainty and delicate, then maybe this isn't for you. But these look really chunky. That's the best way I can describe them. But it's great to see King come back with a whole new range of different boards and have a new design language that we haven't seen before. Much more rounded corners and kind of different chamfers, those whole brass side handles. I'm a sucker for a side handle, as I've always said. I think these look particularly interesting. We haven't seen anything like this before, where it's usually just milled out the side of the case. We've never seen those have an accent piece before, so that's really interesting to see as well. So yeah, I think I'll probably pick up one of these boards to try out. I don't know which one yet, but maybe a 65 or a 60%, something like that, just to try it out and have a look and see. But I think these are going to be great. Kin's always been open and chatty whenever I've tried to speak to him. He's done a lot for the community over the years, and I know he's had difficulties recently. So I hope that this is a step in the right direction for him. But definitely interested to see how well these sell.
Yeah, I'm really interested in this because I do think they actually look better, in my personal opinion. Obviously, that's personal preference, but I think these actually look better than the previous one a lot because of that side design and the side handle. I like that they got the branding on there. I think it looks nice and it's refined, but the price is also really reasonable. This is actually a Korean page that's translated via Google, whatever. So it's the specs might not be completely lined up or translated properly, but the prices. They are there. So if you're looking at something like the TX 60 or 65 V2, that's going to run you around 380,000 Korean won, which is roughly 325 US dollars. That's a really reasonable price. The 660C compatible case actually starts at about $240 USD, which is about 280,000 Korean won. So again, not too shabby of a price. I think that's about the price range, or quite a bit less than the Heavy 6 from Norbauer. So kind of cool to get another aftermarket 660C case option, because I'm a big fan of the Leopold 660C, and I'd like to give it a little bit of a facelift, a little bit more elegance, and I think this is going to be a pretty good option. I might try to pick one of these up. So I think the way this is kind of working now is this is actually a Korean group buy, but I think there's going to be more of a public Western run in the near future, or at least I'm really hoping so, because otherwise I'm going to have to get one of these proxied.
Yeah, right. I definitely want to try and pick one of these. Might reach out to Popcorn or Kin and have a chat. One of the things that I am really interested in as well is it looks like there's two different designs. So there is an image of the 65, which looks like the gold version from underneath. And it shows both the two different bases. So they're both 65 bases. You just scroll past it, I think.
Is it this one?
No, you see the base from the top down. I was trying to look at your screen 10 seconds afterwards. Yeah,
I got it now.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so on that one, this is the same board, but it's got two different versions of it. So one has just the brass handles that clip onto the sides, and you can see how those mount in place. The other one actually has this whole grill piece underneath as well. So we've seen that grill design on a number of different boards before, where it's a brass piece that fits internally and then has like brass lines that come out of that. So it'll be interesting to see if there's a difference in price between those two, or if you can pick the different options, or if you just get a random one, or I'm not sure how that's going to work, but it's interesting to see that that's there.
Well, a brief note on that is that the 660C version, because it is a drop-in option for an existing Topra board, they're not actually going to have the weight option for the bottom at all. So I almost wonder if this is actually the 66C bottom, and maybe it's just mislabeled here.
Maybe, but you can see it in other ones in the 60. If you scroll up, there's the bottom of a black TX60, which doesn't have the vanes, and right above that, there's a bottom of a red TX60.
True. Yeah.
That does have the vanes on. So, so I don't know if it's just going to be an option or a choice. I prefer it with rather than without the vanes. I like it a little bit. It's a little bit kitsch, a little bit different.
But if it saves you a bunch of money, it could be kind of nice to go for that more value-centered version without the weight. That'd be kind of cool. Maybe have two versions, one that's like, $50 or $60 cheaper or whatever it is, and it's a little bit more accessible for people. I'd like that a lot. Maybe hit that sub $300 price range if you can get it without that bottom weight.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the difference is. But I like it with. Some people like it without, and it just gives it a little bit more choice to it. So yeah, interested to see that.
Cool. Yep, definitely looking forward to that one. I think we're gonna have to reach out to TX and see if we can, even if it's just temporary, get our hands on a prototype or a production run of one of these new designs and see how we like it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be interested to see. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, let's move out of the realm of keyboard kits and over to the realm of key sets. Starting us off with what actually is probably my favorite key set I see of the month so far, which is GMK PONO by Sour. And man, is this a really interesting key set. It might look really boring for a lot of people, I think, because it's kind of just that I don't know, it's kind of like a pinkish color on like a dark gray. It's very monochrome. I appreciate that, but what I appreciate most is actually the theme of this set, which is themed around cats, effectively. I think that is just lovely, because I am someone that loves cats. I love floof. And what makes me super duper happy about this one is actually the novelties pack, which is one of the best novelties kits I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah,
absolutely
I've
loving
got
this
to be
one.
honest. I really do like this. So as you say, it's a very simple set. It is a pink on dark grey. And one of the things to call out up front as well is Sour has actually spoken to Olivia around this as well, because it's he was worried that it might be similar to Olivia Plus, the dark version that we saw. I think the pink's very different, the black's very different. It's much more of a dark grey than the specific black. I think it's definitely got enough on its own merit to stand alone as a separate key set. And of course, it has a very different theme. Instead of being themed around Olivia and programming, which is what Olivia does, this is themed, as you say, around cats and that whole kind of thing as well. And this is a really cute set. So I've actually reached out to Sour and talked about this because I really like it. I think it's really interesting, really nice. Yeah. It uses stock colors as well, which is great, which makes it dead easy for GMK to produce. Makes the MOQ a lot lower, 150 units instead of 250. But yeah, let's talk about those kits, because I think the colors speak for themselves. I don't think we need to cover that. But the base kit, and these are only proposed kits for now, they may change. This is what he's terming a soft IC. In other words, this is a really early view. He wants to share his thoughts and then see how that goes and develop it over time, which is absolutely valid way of doing things. But I think that base kit's pretty damn good. I mean, it gives you numpad, it's monochrome, it gives you HHKB, it gives you pretty much everything you could could want. 7 new bottom row, loads of different 1 new keycaps if you want to use some slightly alternative layouts. ISO is included in there, a couple of different options for 65%. I think it's a pretty damn good base kit when I look at it.
Yeah, it's not too bad. A lot of people might look at this and think there's not a whole lot of keys here, but that's one of the benefits of having a fully monochrome set where there's only 2 tones. You don't need different color caps for alphas versus mods, for example, so you can just run one of a lot of these caps that you don't need duplicates of anymore. So that's a real benefit here, and because of that, you can get that extra compatibility. You can put numpad in here, you can put basic ISO support in here, you can put some caps that'll help 40% users in here. Like, you got 1.75 enter, you know, and a 1.75U backspace. You have 1U control, alt, meta. Like, you have some 40% support in here, and there's still not a whole lot of keys. So you get a lot of compatibility with you know, a fairly low amount of keys. But I think we're gonna have it's gonna depend, on the price of the base kit, because it's hard to know whether a base kit is good or not when you don't know how much it costs. So
for sure,
but absolutely. It's looking good so far. But the novelties kit is really where it gets me here. I think this is fantastic. It's not over the top. It's simple. The lines are clean and easy to do in double shot fashion. And there's text novelties. There's a bunch of text novelties and a bunch of traditional novelties. Love this kit. Absolutely love this kit.
Absolutely agree. You know, I mean, we're both a sucker for a text novelty, and having things like the blep, the mlem,
the derp, the mlem, like there's even a floof key.
Great one.
There's even a floof key. Absolutely home run on this one. I love it.
My favorite one has to be the caps lock key, I think, because when do we see a novelty caps lock key? And there's
like never.
Caps in this. It's great, with just a little paw print on it. I think it's fantastic. Of course, ISO novelties are always going to be close to my heart. I think they look great as well. The ANSI one's very, very similar. You know, look fantastic. I like the fact that on the ANSI enter key, the cat's shifted to the left and he's not dead center on the keycap. I like that. I don't know why, but I do. I think it's a really good novelty set. Absolutely fantastic.
And I think he really did a good job taking advantage of the real estate on both the ISO enters and the numpad enters. So he really has you covered on novelties here, regardless of what you're looking for. And I think that's a really good approach here. There's also kind of I don't know, I guess you'd call this, he calls it the highlight toe beans kit. So this is kind of like an accent kit if you want a little bit more pink. It's most, you know, toe beans obviously meant to represent your kitty's paws on the pads, whatever the correct terminology there is. And of course there's the space bars kit, which is what he is calling the catnip kit. I don't really understand the thematic catnip here, but bam, you do have a.
Do you not have catnip in America?
I know what catnip is. No, we have it. I don't understand why the kit is called catnip, is what I'm saying.
Oh right, okay. I think it's
I don't attribute catnip to Spacebar's, but I mean, maybe I'm missing something here. Regardless, it is a very well packed spacebar kit.
So, it's huge packed spacebar kit. Let's be honest.
The kit breakdown's really good here. I think the colorway is great. The kit breakdown's great. I like the theme because I like cats. Not hard to make me happy there. I love the fact that it's monochrome. 2 colors. They're stock colors. This is going to be a really easy run, and I hope the price can reflect that as well. If we can get this base kit down to like 110, how sexy would that be?
And it would. It's a little bit of a large base kit to see at 110, I think. If you look at, say, Blossom, which is 100, I think you'd struggle to get all of those additional keys for $10. But
well, I mean, Metaverse Round 2, which we're going to talk about in just a couple more topics, is running at about 115 right now, and it really doesn't have that many fewer keys than this. So I think the vendor is going to be the deciding factor. Obviously, some vendors you can get away with expecting a higher MOQ, thus having a lower price. So we're going to have to wait to see what kind of vendor we're going to get, what kind of price we're going to get. But I think at like $110, $115 base kit, this would be an absolute home run. Obviously, you know, I'm being maybe a little bit generous, a little bit positive here. I think we could expect this for maybe around the $120, $125 range, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I think either way, this is going to be a must-buy for me, so it's not really going to matter. But I'd like to see it at a lower price, obviously, because, hey, we're all consumers here.
Yeah, I mean, sure, the lower prices are always great for the community. I absolutely agree. I think this set's cute enough that it will do just fine. I mean, I think because Olivia has run and it's quite similar, they might have to price it for a lower MOQ. That might just be one of the strategic decisions that has to be made. But then that all depends on when it's going to run and which vendors it's going to run through as well, and all of that kind of stuff as well. So we'll worry about the prices when it gets into group buy. Just in terms of the actual set itself, I think it looks great. Langalandia points out as well, it's catnip because it can make your cat space out. So that's why it's the space bar kit makes your cat space out with catnip. I feel like that's a tenuous link.
That's really reaching. That's really reaching, buddy.
It's a stretch, right?
that's a bit of a stretch. I'll give it to you for now, but man, that's a stretch. But man, look at these. I like how he calls this a soft IC or whatever. But like, as an interest check overall, this is a pretty good interest check. He's got multiple renders. He's got a kit breakdown. He's got a theme. He's got all sorts of information on not only the set but who he is as a person in the community. It's a good IC.
It is. One of the interesting things as well, he says that he wants to go for R5 on the bottom row in just the highlight kit. Now, I think if you do that in just the highlight kit, that's a great idea.
Yeah, you could definitely get away with that. Man, these renders on the Polaris got me feeling some kind of way, I gotta be honest.
I think it looks better on that white Satisfaction than 75, I've got to be honest.
Really?
I think it looks great on that, yeah.
I think it looks all right, agree to disagree. I do like...
We both like the set. It doesn't matter which board.
Yeah, no, this set's a home run, I think, for both of us, and I cannot wait to purchase this one. All right, well, let's move on to a set that we maybe don't like quite as much. This is an interest check for GMK Rainy Day by Al, and I do think the set actually has some potential. He does have a theme. He's got a little bit of background info here. He's got a kit breakdown, or at least a basic one, but one thing he's really missing here are renders. So I think
yeah,
we need some more professional renders. But I am going to make the best of what we have, and I'm going to show you the only actual board render that we have here. So this is GMK Rainy Day, and again, without those renders, it's a little too hard to see because even these kind of KLE renders, whatever they are, they just don't feel right. It's hard to get a sense of color from anything that's on this page, which is really unfortunate. Because I'd like to see. I do think that the set does have potential, but with what's in this interest check thread, it just doesn't look that good.
Yeah, I can kind of agree. I mean, I think the whole idea of doing something behind a rainy day is a great idea. I like his inspiration. I don't think he needs to explain in 10 different ways what the inspiration is. I mean, he likes rainy days. That's great. That's fine. I think that's enough to say that it's relaxation, clear mind, subtle sadness, dramatic nostalgia, all of that kind of stuff. I think that's a little bit pushing on it, but I do like to see at least a little bit of inspiration, but it just feels like it's a little bit too much.
The idea was it's not that he's feeling all of those things. It's that each person can feel something profoundly different than the other, which is
I think it would have been easy to say.
I think you're a little too harsh on his writing, I think, but maybe I'm not hard enough on his writing.
Sure, make out like I'm the bad guy, Brian. I see.
Well, I mean that's like my role on this show is I'm the actual bad guy, but I try to pretend that it's you. That's what I do on this show.
Sure. Jumping into the kits, I think you're right about the colours. We need to see some proper renders, and that is the big thing that hurts this interest check. Brian and I were talking before the show about whether we should include this or not. We've only included it this week because it's a low news topic week. If this had come out and there'd been 10 different GMK sets, we probably wouldn't have included it because there's no real renders to get a feel of how this is going to look in real life. So that's the only reason we've included it. If you look at the base kit, though, I think the base kit's fine. There are a couple of problems with it, but it gives you most coverage. So you've got TKL, standard ANSI layout, you've got 60%, some 65% options, 7 new bottom row. You can do HHKB just about on there as well. In terms of ISO support users, though, there is no row 3 key that gives you actual ISO compatibilities. It doesn't even have basic ISO compatibility, even though it's got 2 ISO enters and a short left shift function key. It does need at least one R3 key to go next to the enter key, so that is a bit of an omission at the moment. But there are also accent enters and accent arrows as well in the base kit, so you can have either the standard mod color or you can have the pale blue accent enters as well. Yeah. Again, I can't really decide how I feel about those because there's no real visible visibility of how the colors are going to look. This is very much just a KLE with some colors added, so it definitely does need some renders to be able to see that through.
Yeah, he does make a note that the kits and the novelties are not final. So obviously this is kind of an early interest check. Anything could change.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on to the Sidewalks kit, which is the spacebar kit. I think that's quite a clever name for it, actually. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
You've got this kind of grey colour and the blue colours as well, so that's fine. It's a standard base kit. It's a standard spacebar kit. We've seen that before. Then moving on to a couple more interesting ones. We've got the Hangul kit. Interestingly, that doesn't have some of the other keys we've seen in the Hangul kit. So if you look at Korean Beige, for example, there is some additional keys that are included in there that aren't included in this. So I'd be interested to see if this just sticks to the alphas or if it's some of the other keys, like the ANSI / key has a Korean legend as well. There's a couple of others as well, I believe. There's also a 40s and ortho kit, which is pretty all-encompassing, to be honest. This gives you pretty much everything you need for most 40s. You know, all of the different enters and escapes, tabs, backspaces, lots of different opportunities for split space bars and some 1 new keys in there as well. And also the LSB key, which is becoming ubiquitous in sets as well, as we mentioned earlier on. Finally, the last kit, which is the Petrichor kit. Do you know what Petrichor means?
I don't actually.
Okay, so this is quite clever. I kind of like this naming thing, name for this set. So Petrichor is, have you ever been outside when it's just rained, it's just finished raining, and you get that particular smell up your nose, and you can smell all of the earth. It's quite an earthy smell, and it's kind of all refreshed and clean. That kind of smell when you go outside just after a heavy rainfall, that is Petrichor. That's the name for that smell. So it's kind of like a sensation. So I kind of like that name. I think it's really good. In terms of the novelties, I like the clouds. I like the bridge. I don't know why he's got a bridge, but I really like the bridge in there. I think that's really cool. I dislike the puddle. I don't think the puddle works. Don't like the upside down.
The puddle, that's got to be one of the strangest novelties I've ever seen.
It just looks like a splush. It doesn't look like an actual puddle, so I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah, I think... if you could get... I think a puddle could be really cool here if you can get it to look right. I don't think this looks right. I like the direction he's going with a lot of this, though. The clouds, the umbrella, you know, the effectively leafless tree.
Is that a leafless tree?
I think that's what that is.
Or is that a river with tributaries coming off of it?
I mean, I kind of assumed it was, you know, kind of supposed to be like a leafless tree where it's like maybe it's raining, it's in the winter. There's not a whole lot of you know, foliage going on. You're waiting for spring to come and bring all the nature back alive again. That's kind of the what I got out of it, but I could be totally wrong. I don't even really understand. Is this like a street light? The 1.25 U caps here on the third row?
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be like a street light, and I think he mentions that one of the things he likes in the IC is like the rain in the dark looking out, and you can see it in falling in the street lights and things. So that kind of leads into the theme a little bit. I'm not sure how the power cables come into it, or the bridge really, but I do like the bridge. I think that's really nice as a key, but I'm not sure
it's fine. I think the novelty set here is maybe a little too personal to him. Or to he or she, whoever's running this. I think it might be a little too personal to them, because it's hard for us to get the same kind of feelings conveyed. Because this person very clearly has this theme in their head, but it's hard to paint the picture for us because it's maybe something, you know, in their childhood. This is the experience they got when they walked outside on a rainy day that maybe we can't relate to quite as much. Because again, I don't really get the bridge or the power lines, the street lights, you know, the upside down umbrella. Like, they don't speak to me. I kind of understand them, I guess, if you start to paint this, you know, 3-paragraph thematic picture or whatever that he starts with in the intro text thread. But I don't know. They don't pull me in because of it. It's hard for me to get invested in this because this to me feels like it's too much of someone else's life.
Sure, that's fine. I completely get that, and I don't disagree with you. And I think maybe the novelties just need reworking. And I think the name for the kit is really good. Yeah, the actual kit itself needs reworking. Finally, flipping over onto the colours. So he originally had hex values for the colours in those. He's converted those to Pantone matches. As we all know, GMK does struggle sometimes with Pantones. It's easier to choose RAL colours. I'd recommend that he or she recommend that they go back and see if they can get closer RAL colours to the original hex colour values that they wanted to use. That might be a little bit better for GMK. if and when this decides to run. But the most important thing, I think, for now is that we need to see some renders and not just the keycaprenders.com. Whilst that's a great service, and Pingu, who built the site, and my keyboard, who supports it, do a fantastic service, and it's great for visualizing stuff, and it's great as a tool to try things out and try different colors out. It doesn't give you a realistic view of what they're going to look like in real life, and it's not up to the level of quality that that people like Metallic Charles or Janglad or Max Surfy or UB or any of the other great renderers out there can provide. And for the sake of a few dollars, I think it's well worth getting some professional renders done.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's almost inexcusable right now because there are so many people in the community that do renders with all different price ranges. And pretty much all of them are going to be better than this. I mean, no offense, again, to Pingu and keycaprenders.com. Like Jay mentioned, it's a great entry-level tool for getting a great idea. It's bad for trying to promote an interest check or show other people what the colors are going to be. That's just the facts, unfortunately. But yeah, because I guarantee you, once we get some new renders, it's going to look very different from this render right here.
Well, do you know what it actually really reminds me of? It reminds me of that GMK Apollo interest check that we talked about a little while ago, but flipped in terms of its colors. So if you remember rightly, GMK Apollo kind of had a very similar mod color, and then instead of having the light alphas with dark legends, it had darker alphas with light legends, but they're very kind of similar to that secondary color as well. So it does really remind me of Apollo, but flipped around a little bit. Instead of having dark alphas, of having a light alpha set, it really does strike me as being very close to that. So, and perhaps it wouldn't do if we got some actual renders. So maybe that's what it needs to just take it away from that in my head.
Yeah. I mean, if anyone is serious about designing and producing a key set, you gotta have real renders. It's nowadays it's inexcusable in my opinion. You can't. There's no reason to not have renders for a set, even in an interest check, because if people don't know what the set looks like, why would they want to buy it?
Yeah, this isn't 2015 when we all accepted KLE and as acceptable as a render or a layout for a keycap set. It's different now.
Yep, completely agree. So we'll have to wait and see, get some more renders, maybe get a little bit more refinement. Maybe this could be an awesome set. I do think there is potential here. We gotta see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. All
right. Moving on to the last topic in our news doc, actually. This is the group buy for GMK Metaverse 2. So this is the follow-up, the sequel to the original version of GMK Metaverse, which ran in 2018, I think, with a very different kit design. So I think the reason they're calling this Metaverse 2 as opposed to something like Metaverse Round 2, or V2, is just for the sake of they have changed quite a bit here. So I don't think they've changed any of the coloring, but the kitting is quite a bit different. So if you remember previously, we talked about this a lot during the interest check on last week's episode or the week before that. So I'm not going to talk too much about it now, but base kit changed a lot here. So the original base kit for GMK Metaverse had an insane amount of keys. It had all the novelties, all the accents, all the alternates for everything, all the space bars, I think, pretty much. It was a really, really jam-packed full base kit. And they've broken it down a little bit more here, so this is a little bit more of a modern take on the way that we kind of kit GMK sets. So base kit is a little bit more predictable. You got a numpad in there, you have basic ISO support, you have HHKB, Sangon, all that goodness. You have a 7U spacebar, you got a little novelty here as well. One thing that's kind of interesting is they don't have the alpha-colored F keys, so you have only mod colored F keys, unless you also buy the Royal kit, which will actually give you some accent F keys. So still no alpha F keys whatsoever in this set. You're forced to use the mod or the accent, which is kind of interesting. So yeah, but I mean, otherwise the base kit looks all right. Compatibility is there, like I mentioned, numpad, basic ISO supports. As well as various other things. It's not an amazingly compatible base kit, but it'll get the job done for most people.
A couple of things I dislike about it is the fact that the win key uses the diamond, no matter which layout you want. There's no text option for that. I'm not really a fan of that personally, but I can see why they've made it for this particular choice. The ISO support, I think even depleted Vestbean will agree with me that using the same key in both locations on a board doesn't always look good, especially when there's other opportunities. Even if you're not going to do something proper, there are other keys that you could use. Even if you change the row 4 key to something a little bit different, like the 2 chevrons pointing in opposite directions, there's ways of me excuse me, there's ways and means of having different legends for those keycaps, and whilst I would personally prefer the semi UK ISO support that we see at the very least, I think having the same key twice is just it's inexcusable these days. There's too many different options you can use for both keys to come up with something like that.
It's an odd idea, really, too, because like what's the reasoning to duplicate that key?
Because I think it's just when people just don't understand, or they just don't understand that there needs to be a difference, and they don't realize that you're going to use both of those keys. Now, I think it's pretty acceptable for a US ISO user because you've only got one key to use there, and that's okay. But when you're using any other ISO and you've got two different keys in the same spot, if they look the same, it's just really jarring in effect when you look at the keyboard. It's much better to have two different legends, even if they're not the legends that you particularly want. I think it's nice to just have two different ones.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I mean, it's not that hard of a fix. It's not like you have to add keys to fix this or anything. You literally just change that legend to a one that already exists in GMK's catalog anyways.
Yeah, and all three options that are really easy to change this for have the Hiragana sub-legend as well, so it's there already. So it's not like you're changing anything to creating something new or using a different sub-legend or anything else. It's all pre-existing stuff.
Yeah. One cool thing about this base kit is with the compatibility it does have, which isn't too bad overall, all things considered, it does start at $115 US.
Yeah.
Over on SwitchMod in the US. That's not a bad price. It's really not.
Yeah, and that's a base kit that includes a numpad. It includes 65% options and other things. It's okay, I think. One thing I was going to say on the numpad, and Eskimo just mentioned this in chat, is that the numpad looks really stark and bare compared to the really busy alphas of the base kit. I mean, there's so many legends going on in the alpha cluster that the numpad just looks a bit weak in comparison. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's the best I can come up with right now. And yeah, I think that kind of bothers me. I'd almost say it would be better to not have the numpad in this base kit based on that.
Interesting. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Was it the previous run, or was it the interest check of this set that had the numpad that was all mod colored? I think it was the previous run of Metaverse had
it was
entirely white on black numpad. So it was all mod color, which was kind of strange.
I think because of that, it probably didn't look as it didn't stand out as being such a stark difference. Because it was all black, it kind of probably helped it blend into the rest of the key set and have that monochrome look for that side of your board. When compared to the legends, you've got some really busy keycaps, because those keycaps do look really, really busy with all of the different legends.
Yes.
It does look really busy set.
Yeah, exactly. Like look at the Numbro. There's 4 legends on a lot of these. 4 legends.
Yeah.
Like, that's very, very busy. There's no getting around it.
And interestingly, the legends are repeated twice in those as well. So you have the top and the bottom legend. Those are the same legend repeated twice, which is unusual as far as I'm aware. I'm not quite sure of the rationale behind that.
Yeah, I'm not really sure either. Maybe it's just so the caps look a little bit more balanced. So you have something in each one of the 4 quadrants of each cap, maybe? I don't know. That's just my guess. But yeah, certainly a lot of interesting choices in this set. A lot of interesting choices. So aside from the base kit, you do have the Royal Kit, which is the main red accent kit that'll give you all of your accents that you need. You have another very rich spacebar kit.
A huge spacebar kit, yeah.
And then you have this pretty intense novelties kit as well. So the theme here obviously is Persona 5. If you're unfamiliar with Persona 5, then you're not alone. I am too. I'm aware of its existence, but I actually have never played it or any other Persona game. So the theme is a little lost on me. But it's a lot of novelties. A lot of novelties.
Huge amount of novelties. I think they all look great, though. Some of the designs on these are fantastic. Knowing the little bit I do about the base game, I think some of these designs are great. I really like some of them, and it seems to fit the theme really well.
I mean, it's hard to argue with the colors, all things considered. I mean, it's a simple black and white colorway with red accents. It's kind of hard to hate on that. It's really not original. We've seen it multiple times in the past, but it does look pretty good. And the base kit price, hard to argue with. And I mean, they sold. I don't know if they actually have updated numbers here, but I'm gonna take a quick look.
As of the 19th, which is 5 days ago, it was at 354 base kits.
Yes. So and it launched on the 18th. So after one day, they sold more than 350 base kits. That's a really big first day.
Oh, so as of the 23rd, which I think it's still for you guys in America, it's 461 base kits.
461. Okay, so definitely starting to fizzle out after that first day, but huge first day. Like selling 350 plus base kits in the first day, pretty solid.
Yeah.
Already crossing MOQ in the first day is always a good thing. So I mean, you said it was what 460 something. So we're well on track to crack 500 units here. That's absolutely going to happen.
I think it will absolutely sell 500, maybe even push to 750. I think all of the kits are doing really well. Space Bar kit's at 215, the Royal kit's at 263, the novelties at 336. So almost everyone has bought the novelties who's bought the base kit as well.
That's really big. That's really big.
It's huge. It's huge. Lots of fans of this video game, I suspect. That's the way it is. Even the Rama caps, which I was going to talk about and say I really do like, even though I'm not a fan of this particular set, I really do like the Ramal novelties, both the black and the raw. I think they look great. I think they look fantastic. I think they'd go with a lot of other key sets really well. Modern Dolch and things like that. These will work really well with those. Those have sold 39 and 44 respectively, so still well on the way to hitting the 50 MOQ for both of them.
Yeah, that is quite reasonable. So the set obviously doing fairly well. People are okay with all these changes from the previous iteration. And yeah, that price is hard to argue with a base kit compatibility like this. $115. It's not bad.
It's not bad at all, yeah.
All right, and speaking of not bad, let's talk a little bit about our sponsors, and then, of course, we will roll into our Q&A section, as we always do. So you can actually get the questions ready right now. You can ask them in the chat right now. You can use the @TopClack tag. That'll help us out a lot. We can see them a lot easier that way. But until then, let me tell you a little bit about ZealPC.net, a.k.a. Zeal Generation, our first sponsor of the day, where you can find all sorts of keyboard switches and a variety of other things, but switches, most notably, one of his trademark items. He has tactile switches in the Zelios, he's got linear switches in the Telios, he has silent versions of both of those as well, so if you want some silent tactiles, some silent linears, lots of different color options going on. He's definitely got you covered no matter what you're trying to get. And free shipping over orders of $150 if you're in the US or Canada, so that's pretty nice as well. And if you want to help out TopClack during all that, you can use zealpc.net/TopClack. Helps us out a considerable amount every time you buy from Zeal, so consider that.
Absolutely. Moving over onto novel keys, quite a lot to talk about on Mike's site today. So first thing I want to talk about is that GMK Peach Blossom is still in group buy, $100 base kit, really nice simple set. Go check it out. If GMK isn't your thing, you might prefer Cat Lich, which is also available. So that's in group buy by our very own Eskimojo, who's in chat right now. Multiple different prices, lots of different kits. It has a unique selling point, which is the fact that the alphas and the legends for all of the keys, in fact, are lowercase, not uppercase, which is really unique and really different. And I had the pleasure of seeing Eskimojo in Bristol just last weekend and seeing the actual Pantone chips for this set as well. So I'm really excited for it, nice. Which is quite cool. Back to GMK, there is also the Boba Fett set, the fully licensed Star Wars Boba Fett style set as well, which has got all of the Mandalorian legends on and everything else, so you can go check those out too. If key sets aren't your thing, then you may be interested in some switches, and Mike has pretty much every switch under the sun that's available on the market right now, but most importantly has the NK Sherbet switches, which have just gone on sale a couple of weeks ago, so please do go and have a look at those because they are quite interesting. As well as that, he's got all of the other switches, springs, and everything else you could want. And they've also got the Rama Shrimp on the Barbie keycap as well, which I just wanted to talk about really briefly. So this is for all of the issues that are going on in Australia right now. There's all of the wildfires, and we've seen the tree desk mat that's come running to raise funds for the fire authorities in Australia, and now Rama's stepped on board as well. So there's a couple of things I just wanted to talk about with this. There's this Rama cap that you can get for $50. All profits and proceeds are going to the Australian Bushfire Relief Charity. It's themed Australian, right? It's shrimp on the barbie. That's what Australians do. So it's really quite fun in terms of that, and it helps as well. And as well as this, if you follow through the links and go and have a look, they're also raffling off a Jane CE on Daily Clack as well. So big shout out to Daily Clack. Big shout out to TGR. So Yutsuki Sam from TGR has donated a board for that, and you can buy all sorts of raffle tickets and everything else. So you should definitely go check that out.
Yeah, there's also sorry to interrupt, but there's also a set of GMK Lime and a set of GMK Bizu for the same raffle. So you got lots of different prize options there. It's a pretty good raffle. So make sure to go check that out.
Absolutely. Jumping back to novel keys, though, the only other thing I want to say about novel keys, apart from Mike's lovely and wonderful and very handsome man, is that the promo code has changed. It is no longer Clackers. Do not use that promo code anymore. If you want to get your top Clack discount, then you can use the code CLICK. That's all one word, CLICK, CLACK, all one word, CLICK. And that's in effect from right now. So don't use the old one, use the new one, Clack. We'll put an announcement up in the Discord after the show, just so you can see how that goes. But please use the new code going forwards.
Yep, and that'll get you 5% off any in-stock item. It will not work for group items, but any in-stock item, you'll get 5% off there, save you a few bucks. Can't complain about that.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Input Club over at KONO, and they have several things going on right now, including GMK Fuyu, which is this lovely kind of cherry blossom Japanese-themed set going on that I like quite a bit. So they have that. They also have GMK Copper, which Jay and I talked about last week. We both love this set quite a bit. That's going on as well. Keystone pre-orders, of course, always still available. We're looking forward to getting our hands on one of these because it is new technology or newer technology that is going to take our keyboard community in a pretty cool direction. That's the hope, at least. And then, of course, try to find it, make sure I got this right. Yes. Okay, so if any of you are unfamiliar with Romley, Romley is a Japanese keyboard enthusiast that has written some pretty cool pieces when it comes to mechanical keyboard stuff, and he does have a new data book out. So this is the Mechanical Switch Data Book 2. Pretty cool. We've seen a couple things like this from Romley in the past. It makes great pieces for like coffee tables, I guess. You just throw one on there, stuff like that. It's cool. It's really cool. Jay was telling me a little bit about it before the show, and it seems pretty awesome. And it's only $30. You get a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, some of the artwork in there is absolutely insane as well. I did chuck up a second link for that as well. So if you guys want to take a more detailed look, he's actually got some open pages that you can have a look at on that secondary link, which is direct on Romley's site. And there's some really, really high resolution, detailed macro photos of the switches and everything else in there. It's really, really good stuff. Definitely well worthwhile reading through. And it covers basically all of the Cherry MX series, including Hirose switches or Hirose switches, depending on your pronunciation.
Hirose.
Switches.
It's a Japanese word.
China style series. Yeah, all right, Brian, whatever. Yeah, TCC orange switches, linears, and all sorts of other things. Gateron glow switches. But there's some really, really beautiful pictures in there as well. It's definitely worthwhile taking a look at, guys. And for the sake of $30, picking something up to support Romley is not a bad idea. Okay. Moving over, though, to KBDfans. So whilst Chinese New Year may be upon us, KBDfans are still in business. They're still selling a lot of stuff, and you might be able to partake in that. So in terms of the stuff, they've still got SA Mode Choco Group Buy ongoing at the moment, and the Laser on Switch Group Buy as well. So depending on whether you want keycaps, which are really nice pastel pinks, greens, and creams, or if you want some laser-themed switches, you can go and get those on there as well. So if you've just had SA Laser delivered, which I know some people have, you might want to go pick up some Laser on switches to match that for your next build. Failing that, KBDfans do have loads of entry-level kits, so depending on what you want, you can probably find a board and a layout for you. So if you want a 40% or a 60%, 65%, pretty much anything, KBDfans have probably made a board in that kind of layout. And you can probably go and buy the parts pretty quickly on there. Now, please do bear in mind that it is Chinese New Year right now, so things will be delayed shipping. You're not going to get it shipped tomorrow, for example. It's going to take a little while, but they will be back straight after Chinese New Year, and they will be delivering as normal with their exceptional service. So please do go check those out. And if you are looking for something a bit on the cheap side that it might have a bit of a bash or a dent, go check out their B stock market, because you can often get some real good bargains in there. So definitely check that out.
Yeah, absolutely. Last but not least, we have the wonderful The Key Dot Company, who has numerous things going on right now. They have the Infinity black on white and white on black that we talked about a few weeks ago. This is that pretty inexpensive Infinity set, starting at just $90 if you get the black on white version. Ridiculous compatibility. You get all these keys. This isn't broken up into a bunch of kits. This is everything. This is one whole base kit. So for $90, you get a ridiculous amount of PBT goodness and compatibility. Love seeing that. GMK Dark is still open until the end of the month as well, so you got about a week left on that. Classic black on black, $120 base kit. Not too shabby. They also have Cat Drifter, which started just a couple weeks ago. That ends on February 7th, so if you're a fan of the video game Hyper Light Drifter, then this could be totally for you. Probably a lot better than the DSA version, if I do say so myself, because Cat is just better, IMO. They do have a few things upcoming as well. They still have the tree mat that we talked about last week for the CFA fundraiser. That's for the country firefighter association authority. County Firefighter. Oh, so close.
Firefighter Authority.
So close.
County Fire Authority. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is one of the fundraiser, one of the charity events that's going on right now for for Australia. All the ridiculous wildfires that are going on in Australia right now. This is a good way to help donate towards that. And of course, tomorrow they're actually launching a couple things as well that we'll talk about next week. But Infinity Hive and the Godspeed 75 keyboard kit is going to be launching as well tomorrow. So they're doing a lot of things right now, and they have a lot of upcoming things as well. So make sure to stay tuned. We'll make sure to cover those next week. All right, let's move over to the Q&A. And I believe we did have a few questions come in already, so I'm going to scroll back up and look for those.
Excellent.
All right, Depleted Vespine starting us out with a question. Barring charity group buys and raffles, what is the most pleasant surprise that you've gotten, not from keyboards or key sets, etc., but from the people of the keyboard community? Okay, so interesting. Pleasant surprise that we've gotten from people in the keyboard community.
Yeah, so just support, I think, is the massive one for me. So there's so many people out there that are just really nice and kind people, and they'll, be open and honest with you. They'll tell you exactly what they're thinking, but they won't do it in a negative way. You get some really constructive feedback, some criticism, all of that, but in a really nice way. The people themselves can be really, really nice. Now, you don't get me wrong, you do get the odd person who can be a little bit toxic and a little bit negative, but generally, on the whole, people are really good in this community, and just to have that support from people, and people to even if it's just a message, say, really like the show last week, guys, or the show was really good, but you said this, and maybe you should have thought about that. Oh, thanks. I love that kind of advice, and I love people reaching out to talk about that kind of stuff. So, yeah, just the way people can support us in the hobby in general, and how people support each other as well. So advice on builds, and people saying, oh, how should I do this, or I've got a problem with my PCB. The willingness from people to just get involved and say, we tried this, we tried that, maybe you should look at this, maybe you should look at that kind of stuff. All really good stuff.
Yeah, I completely agree. Even like simple generic comments that we hear a lot, like, hey, it was last night's show was good, or I think you're doing a good job with this, or I think maybe this could be improved. Something positive, constructive, wholesome. I love seeing that kind of stuff. I don't care who's saying it or how often we hear it. It really does never get old, and it kind of helps us do what we do, because sometimes I gotta be honest, like sometimes it's doing this is a little bit of a chore in a way. I mean, it can feel like a job sometimes, and obviously we still do it because we love it. But it's nice to hear good feedback as well as constructive criticism. So never get tired of hearing any of that. We try to do this kind of stuff for not only you guys, but a lot of the people entering the community as well. Try to make sure they have the right info and everything. Make sure they're putting their money where it's best for them, and they're not just blindly wasting a bunch of money on stuff that they're not going to like. Stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, this really is a great community. Jay and I were even talking about it before the show, because like there's some bad apples in the community. There really are. But as a whole, there are so many good people and so many wholesome people and so many more of those type of people in the community than all the bad apples. So it is very nice, and it's very wholesome. It's very inspiring. It's very refreshing. Just that you guys come and hang out and watch this show. I mean, there's 107 of you here right now or so, and you guys are just watching us talk about keyboards, and it's cool that right? we are able to do something like that, and this many people are actually going to be here watching. That never gets old, and it's always very humbling, and we love you for it. We really do.
Just having people in chat when I'm doing build streams to talk to is just such a nice experience. Like the one thing I love to do is just to spend time talking to the people in chat, even if it makes my build slower. Just acknowledging who's there and saying hi to people. I absolutely love that. It makes my weekends so much better. So absolutely love that.
Yeah, exactly. Completely agree. All right, great question, by the way. Langlandia asking if you could kill off a character from a television show, current or past, who would you kill off and why? This is tough for me. I actually don't watch much television. I don't I watch a fair amount of anime. But I don't. Aside from that, I haven't paid for cable or anything since 2009. So I don't watch a lot of the TV shows that a lot of other people watch. So I'm really not sure.
I tend to watch whatever's on Netflix. If I could pick anything, I'd probably kill. I can't remember the characters' names, but the ones from The Big Bang Theory, whatever the two main characters in that, because I can't stand that show.
That show is just kind of bad. Anyways, you could
get love, and I don't understand why, but maybe that's just me not getting it. I just think I just don't find it hilarious or funny. So I would kill both of those characters.
Okay.
Not the actors. I'm sure the actors are lovely, but not the character.
Interesting. That's a good option, because I have seen the first 2 seasons of that show, and I completely agree. It's
just obnoxious.
It was terrible.
It's just not good. Yeah.
Oh man. God, who would I kill in a show? I can't even think of shows that I've seen in recent memories that aren't anime.
Pick an anime one then. Pick an anime one. We've got the audience for it. People are going to know that.
Are you saying all of our audience are weebs, Jay?
I'm saying some of our audience are.
I'd kill off any tsundere character in any anime.
Fair enough. There we go. I don't know what that means, but it's fine. Yeah,
it's the anime trope of a character that secretly loves something but pretends they hate it, basically.
Right. Okay.
It's a very classic trope that's in basically every anime ever, and it's kind of obnoxious. So. Yeah, there you go. Pick any tsundere anime character, and that's the one I want to kill off.
Cool.
Mr. Okay. Petrov asking.
Oh, sorry. Just before we get on to Petrov, because I have to do something for that. But did you see that Studio Ghibli is now? I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Is now going to be on Netflix. That's a big anime thing, right?
Yes. Studio Ghibli, very very prominent. Obviously, the studio that was I don't know if it was necessarily founded by, but headed by Hayao Miyazaki. Who was legendary, obviously, and I don't know if... Have you watched a lot of Studio Ghibli movies, Jay?
I've watched 0, but are you not impressed with the knowledge that I just knew something that is,
You did.
I'm trying to step up, yeah.
What's interesting is, for people that are actually looking to start watching anime, Studio Ghibli is a really good bridge, especially if you're into stuff like Disney movies. Because there's a lot of similarities, a lot of similar feels on kind of how they roll with each other. But pretty much any Ghibli movie, I think you're probably going to enjoy, whether you're a fan of anime or not, because that's kind of their selling point, is the fact that so many people can watch and enjoy them, whether you're an anime watcher or not.
Sure, get that. I mean, I've always wanted to try and get into it. I know when we talked about maybe trying to find the time for you to introduce me to some anime shows when I was in Seattle, and we never got around to it through one thing and another. I have always wanted to get into it. So if that's something that's going to be available to me, maybe that's my stepping stone into at least trying it and see already.
Yeah, absolutely. People in chat are already talking about some. I saw someone mention Porco Rosso. Porco Rosso, very good Ghibli movie. Someone mentioned Princess Mononoke. That is iconic. It's a classic. It's definitely one of the Ghibli greats. But there are a lot of them. Like really, like they're honestly all kind of good. It just kind of depends on the mood that you're in.
As soon as there's some up there on Netflix here in the UK, I'll reach out to some people who I know things about this.
We'll get you
advice.
We'll get you some recommendations. We'll get you there.
Get me hooked in. Yeah.
We'll make a weeb out of you yet, Jay.
Maybe not, but yeah, we'll see.
Mr. Petrov has a question for you though. Any chance we could get a look at the quote-unquote Aegis Navy Inverse 70 board that you might have gotten recently?
Yeah, so Mr. Petrov here is referring to the Allison, which is the board that he commissioned from a designer, and then he asked my prototypist business to run it through the whole kind of getting a prototype produced and manufacturing and all of that kind of stuff, from plates and hardware and custom screws and CNC manufacturing and anodization and all of that kind of stuff to get a finished product. I finally got all of the boards in, so I've got all 10 of them on hand now. Some of them have got some issues, so we're going to send them back to the manufacturer for Chinese New Year. But what he really wanted me to show off was this. This is, look, I don't have the keyboard to hand. I only have the numpad, but this is the Aegis blue in hand. So it happens that Petrov picked exactly the same Pantone as what the AE keyboards use. So there we go. So this is what the blue looks like. So this is a numpad. And how cool is the bass of this thing, by the way? It's
so sexy. I love that.
Like I know you guys can't feel it through the screen. If I run my finger down this, it just feels so lovely. It just feels absolutely gorgeous.
I gotta be honest with you, Jay. I think that we can feel that. I think it's so well defined that we can actually feel that through stream.
It is something else. So I don't have the board to hand, because what I did is when I went to the UK meetup, I took the blue numpad. I'm hoping you can see the blue in the light and it's not looking black. But I took the blue numpad and I took the white, the E-white actual board itself. So I don't have the blue board to hand. I've only got this to hand because it was still in its protective case when I took it. But yeah, so there you go, Mr. Petrov. I hope that helps, and I hope you're happy that Mr. Petrov's seen all the pictures anyway. I've shown him like dozens of pictures. But yeah, really happy with this, and really love this base design. It's just absolutely stunning. And a lot of people were just literally touching it and stroking the base of it. A lot of people didn't like the layout he's chosen for the top of the board, but they did like the base, so that goes for something.
All right, fair enough. Eskimo Joe says, please consider Catlich. I already bought it. No worries.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good price, and it's cat profile. Can't complain.
Nice.
Long Schlong Boy, forever be one of my favorite Twitch names. Asking what GMK sets have you guys joined in so far? And Jay, can you show feet pics? Nice haircut, Brian. Wow, what a message. What a
wow.
Let's break this down. Thank you for the comment on the haircut. It's definitely a lot more refreshing. Jay, do you want to show feet pics or nah?
I don't have any pictures of my feet, but
okay, that makes this really easy to move on then. So let's move up to the original question here. What GMK sets have you guys joined in so far? I'm assuming he means like this month, this year.
Should we just go what we've joined in 2020, right? Because otherwise that's going to be a really difficult list to give up. Just off the top of my head. Okay, so in 2020, I have received 2 key sets, I think. Handbite.
He's asking what have we joined. He specifically uses the word joined.
Oh, sorry, apologies. Okay, so what have I joined in 2020? So Catlich.
You did join Catlich. Interesting.
Yeah. GMK Copper, GMK Dark. What else have I joined? I feel like that's not everything. Cat Drifter. I bought Drifter as well. I'm trying to think what else I bought. I'm gonna have to jump in my emails and check what I actually bought. So
that's fine.
Have you joined any yet?
Yeah, I'm actually opening up my email right now as well. I have. I mean, as I'm sure you, I have an orders section too. So like, everything that I order will just show up there.
Yeah, it's not quite as easy for mine, but
yeah. Let's see what I did order here. Okay, so I did technically join GMK Yugo in January. So I joined that. I joined Yugo. I joined GMK Ursa.
Nice.
I joined GMK Olivia Dark.
Nice.
I joined Catlich. And I think that's it for January. I also joined Tengu. And obviously Tengu is not super duper cheap. So because of that, I don't think I'll be buying any other sets this month. But I don't know. I kind of want to get GMK Dark. But we'll see. If I buy any more sets in January, it'll probably be GMK Dark. But I'm not really sure yet. Tengu was a big hit to the wallet, so I don't know. I might just not buy any more key sets this month.
That's completely fair. Yeah. So looking back, I'm not going to go through all the ones in December, but I did join Ursa and Umbra in December, and the other one that I've joined in January that I didn't mention was GMK Peach Blossom, and I bought GMK Boba Fett as well, just because it's part of the collection and it's just something nice to have. I haven't bought a Tengu as yet, but I'm really tempted to. I was going to see if I'd got in on the GSKT, and then decide after that, and I did get in on that on the second round of it.
Did you?
Just because I want. Yeah, so I filled the form both times, and I didn't get in on the first one when it was just 200 because it was released. There was a whole bit of drama on that one, which we're not going to cover today. But I did get in on the second one, so yeah. I've got that coming, and I did say to myself, if I get that, I wouldn't buy another keyboard in January. But I really want a Tengu.
that Tengu, man, it looks good.
Yeah,
it looks good.
Yeah, maybe I need to reach out to 159 and see if he can convince me. I don't know. I'm sure he could.
I like the idea.
I don't think it'd take much.
I like the idea of messaging vendors and making them convince you to sell them their product.
Yeah, should I buy this?
I don't know why, but that's just too hilarious.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. Sweaty Yeti as well, thank you very much for the 3,500 bits. We very much appreciate it. That's a huge number of bits.
That's a lot of bits, yeah. Thank you so much, man.
It's a huge number. Thank you very much. At some point as well, Mr. Petrov has taken third slot on the bit count, but I don't know when that happened.
Oh, he did. He did.
I have no idea when that happened or how many bits he bought, but I'm hoping you can see that in the background, Brian.
Well, this stupid mini feed in OBS only works like half the time, but he did donate 1,562 bits just a few minutes ago. So we haven't actually caught up in chat that much, but I see it on the activity feed.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Well.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Mr. Petrov. Class act, as always, and of course to the Sweaty Yeti, too. You guys are absolutely fantastic people.
Yeah, and too cute to be straight. Sharp haircut, Brian. Let me grab my turbulent juice.
Oh man. Turbulent juice. Nice reference. I appreciate that.
What's turbulent juice?
It's a reference to an episode in Rick and Morty.
Oh, of course, yeah. Okay.
Have you watched Rick and Morty, Ray? Are you a fan? Or not, Jay. Wow, Ray. Wow.
Ray?
I talk to Ray a lot more than I talk to you, so I'm used to saying Ray.
Wow, I see how it is. Yeah, I do watch Rick and Morty. I didn't get the reference at first, but yes, I get it now. Yeah, as soon as you said Rick and Morty, I clicked to that.
Oh man, yeah. That's such a good episode, man. Anyways, moving on. Thank you so much for the sub there. All right, scrolling through chat here. Sorry, I'm just catching up. 256K asking, what do you usually use your macro pads for? Artisans, shortcuts, gaming?
So, yeah, you don't really use a macro pad, do you?
I have one. I have an M6A. That's the.
Okay.
I think. No, I'm sorry. It's not the only macro pad I own technically, but it's the only one I have on my desk, and it's the only one I actually use. I mix it up. Sometimes I use it for gaming. I used to actually have each one say something specific for when I played Overwatch. Like I had a GG button. I had a, I had some that were maybe some mild shit talk. Just casual gamer stuff. Nothing, no big deal.
Sure. I see how it is.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've probably used it for more than anything else.
Cool.
But yeah, I'd like to start using it more for like streaming stuff. I kind of want to get a stream deck, like an Elgato stream deck or something. Like
I have
the mid-tier one, and I want to actually use one of those.
Sure, I have some of my Macropads programmed for that, so they replicate the functions through some software. So I use my Ocelot for that as well. So that's got some really basic stuff on it. So I've got like volume controls on there, volume up and volume down for my whole system, so I can change the volume on the fly. I've got a button that basically shuts the PC on and off as well, so it's nice and easy, one-click job done. And then the rest of the keys do different scenes for when I'm doing build streams. I don't have them for this particular show, but I do have it for build streams, so I don't have to use the mouse and go and click through the different bits and pieces. I can just press the button and it will then play the intro, or I press another button, it'll show my overhead camera, or press another button and it'll take me to kind of like a... For streamers, I think that's really the right answer. You can never have enough dedicated keys for streaming stuff. You pretty much just can't. So definitely a good option for people like us on that. Absolutely. Langalandia said you technically joined Cafe 2. Yeah, but I didn't buy that in 2020. I put that in.
I think he's talking about me, and that's...
Oh, right. Okay.
But that's a bit of a side story, because the joke was, I don't know, maybe not necessarily a joke, but I couldn't join Cafe when it ran because I just couldn't afford it.
Sure. Yep.
But I was planning on buying, an extra or an aftermarket set or whatever. And Langlandia PM'd me and he's like, hey, like I have like extras of like every kit or whatever. And I was like, cool, I'll just awesome. buy one. I'll just buy one from you. So I think that's probably the plan. So that's I'm very much looking forward to Cafe though. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, I think Cafe is going to be one of my biggest sets of 2020. I think because I like to go by when sets are delivered, and that's the year that they come out, rather than when the group buy happens. So, for example, I class Handabite as a 2020 set. I'll class Cafe as that as well. I just think it's easier to do it that way. From the date I get it in my hands, that's the easiest way to do it. So I think in terms of 2020, I think Cafe is going to be up there in terms of sets received this year. I think it's looking really good. Copper as well. I think if I assume Copper's going to deliver this year, so if that does, then yeah, that's also high on my wish list right now. So yeah, excited for those.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, next question. Not a question, but Eskimojo says finally submitted my CF plate order. Very nice. Very, very nice. And
thank you very much.
SNTXRRR. I don't know how it's supposed to be pronounced.
Syntaxer.
Syntaxer. Okay. It says, Jay, as a Brit, confirm you are eager for the upcoming Cam Wraith GB.
Yeah, I can't remember when that starts. Actually, is that February that starts?
Let's check the all-powerful key set doc. That sounds about right. Cam Wraith has been in interest check for quite a while. The doc's not even loading for me right now. Maybe there's too many people on it. Shout out to Functional with the tier 1 sub for 11 months. Thank you so much, man. And to one of our resident mods, of course, Geo says hi, subs and says hi there. I am really late. Don't bully. Too bad. I'm gonna bully you anyways because that's
bad mod.
Yeah, of course, always. When does Wraith? No, Wraith runs this month. Opens on the 27th, so you got about 4 days on that.
Nice.
Very, very nice. Okay, Hue is asking if someone opens a tab. Hold on, I'm having trouble understanding this line. I'm sorry. If someone opens a tab and offers to buy you a drink, how many drinks do you put on their tab? Feels okay, man.
Okay, so I think what he's saying is if you go to a bar and someone sets up an open tab and says you can buy a drink on my tab, how many drinks is it okay to put on the tab? Well, I don't know. A couple? Depends on how long you sat together. Depends on whether you're drinking together or whether you're going to just get a drink and wander off and go and sit somewhere else.
Maybe it's different in the UK, but like I feel like out here, if someone offers to buy you a drink, they're just buying you that one drink. They're not necessarily paying for all your drinks throughout the night.
I don't know, because like it's a little bit different, I think, here, because when we went to the meetup the other day, last weekend, we were sat in the bar before the meetup, and I just put my card behind the bar and said, just open up a tab, and then like whoever came in to join us, I was like, oh, there's an open tab, go and get yourself a drink. I have no idea how many drinks we bought on the day, but you know,
I think for me, it's always like I try to gather the info based on like exactly what they say. If they say, you know, drinks are on me tonight, or put your drinks on my tab or whatever, like that to me, okay, yes, then bam, I'm on that tab all night or whatever. But if someone's
Cool,
like,
yeah.
I'll buy you a drink, I expect them to only buy me one drink, and I'm very okay with that. So I don't know. It really depends on what they say, I guess.
This is making me wonder if Hui was one of the people that were there and knows about this, and that's why they know I had a tab open.
Oh,
And
is there backstory to this? Okay.
I don't know. I don't recognize unless it's Huey, and he's just got a different name on this. So Huey's in our Discord. I won't dox him with his real name, but I think it might be him. Either that or it's not, and it's someone else.
He says yes, I was. So there you go.
He was there. Okay.
There you go.
So yeah, well, if I bought you a drink, man, I'm glad you enjoyed it. That's all I care.
Yeah, I mean that's always like kind of just pub culture anyway. Everyone buys everyone drinks. Like that's what, like usually you don't pay for your own drinks. Like someone will buy your drinks and you'll buy someone else's drinks or whatever. Like you'll wind up paying for drinks, but like they're almost never your own.
Sure. Yeah.
That's how it's pretty common like that out where I am at least.
Yeah, I don't know. If I'm opening a tab and I'm letting people buy it, I'm expecting to
Depend.
I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, if I open a tab and I'm like, hey, people, I have a tab, buy drinks on it or whatever, then yeah, of course, I'm going to expect that.
Yeah.
Interesting question. Yeah.
So I've got to assume that Hui is actually Huey, as in the British Huey, not Huey who's on the show.
Not man of interest. Yeah.
Yeah, not man of interest. I've got to assume he just spelt his username differently on Twitch. But if I'm wrong, I don't know who else it could be. Oh well. Anyway, let's carry on. Let's carry on with the show.
We'll carry on. The next question actually comes from Clavier. He's asking, "You guys scared about the coronavirus?" So, if anyone is unfamiliar with that, I forgot the actual technical name of it, but I'm gonna sound really stupid because I actually don't have all the details here, but if I'm not mistaken, it's a disease that was somewhat localized in China. And
it was the Wuhan district, but it's not.
It has
localized anymore.
It has since made its way over to the U.S. Actually, very close to me. Somewhere in the greater Seattle area, which is only about an hour and a half away from me. There has been a discovered case of it, which is a little frightening, I suppose. But I don't know. I don't know how easy it is to spread. I don't know what everyone's plan of attack is. So I'll sit here. I'm gonna sit here and do what I always do, and hopefully not contract it. I don't know.
I think it's actually slightly worse here in the UK because I think about 15 people have got it here in the UK now.
Really?
I think you guys have got 2 confirmed cases in the US.
There's a couple now, I think.
Before the show, but effectively, what happened? It was they think it came from like a what they call a wet market, which is where they have livestock that's sold at a market, so chickens and fish and animals and all of that kind of stuff, in a market in Wuhan province in China. And I think there's about 11 million people live in that city. And by the time it all came out, they actually tried to put a quarantine on that city. Now, as soon as you start to make a decision that you're going to quarantine a city, it's already too late. You are past the point of where you're going to get an outbreak because so many people travel these days and travel so easy that by the time you want to put a quarantine on an entire city, it's too late. By the time you've gone through all of that decision-making process, someone's got out with the virus. It's just the way it happens. So I think there's about 1,000 people infected now. I think the death toll is about 25 people. From what I was seeing just before the show, I think there's about 15 cases in the UK. There's at least a couple, if not more, in the US, and I think it's just going to spread from there. Now, I do remember reading that I think the death rate was about 2.5%, but they don't know how easy it does spread from one human to another. I think for the amount of time and the amount of people that have had it and how far it's got around the world, they'd expect more people to be infected by now if it was quite virulent. So hopefully that's a good thing, but it could be the next wave of epidemic that does strike quite deeply. But the coronavirus is the actual proper name for it as well. So
yeah, okay, well, good luck to all of us, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah. If you feel ill, guys, go get checked out. Just go get checked out. It's simple as that.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's actually our last question for the day. Jay, we didn't meet our 2-hour soft deadline. Jay and I were really trying to make this a 2-hour show today, but as usual, we went over with somehow only 9 topics on our news doc. I don't understand how we do this every single time.
I know. Yeah.
We even got our timelines down. We went live at 45 with the starting soon screen. We pre-show at 5:50 Pacific time. Officially went live at exactly 6. We're really trying to nail down every minute here to make sure everything was a little bit more concise, so none of you had to sit through a 3-hour stream. But still, we still failing on this, so we're gonna have to work on that a little bit better. We want to try to get this down to closer to a 2-hour show instead of a 3-hour show. So we're trying to make progress on that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap the show up. Look below the stream, guys. You're gonna find the links to all of our media outlets. Whether you want to join our official Discord, which you do need to be in for our Archaic MX T-shirt group buy, or not group buy, but giveaway that we just started today. Link for that will be in the Discord, as well as the VOD links and stuff below the description. YouTube link also below the stream. Check that out. Subscribe there. And upcoming streams. Let's see.
Yeah, so I'll be doing a build stream on Sunday. I haven't decided what board as yet, but I will be doing one on Sunday. It might be my personal IDB60 and the ISO Macropad. I might do that, but I haven't decided yet. It's either that or it's going to be the honey board, because I've got a golden honey board that I need to build as well. So, but I do need to put some holes in the plate for that. So I haven't decided which of those yet. It probably depends on how lazy I am between now and Sunday and whether I do the drilling or not. So we will see on that. But I will build the little ISO Macropad as well. Definitely get built on Sunday. Yeah, and after that, I'll be back next week on the show. Yeah.
Cool. Sounds good. Tomorrow, I am not going to be doing a build stream. However, what's kind of interesting is my Southpaw Full Size, which is a group buy I've been waiting on for about 18-ish months now, so about a year and a half. That board is actually scheduled to arrive tomorrow, so I'm really excited for that, looking forward to that. However, I cannot do a build stream tomorrow for a couple reasons. One, if you were here at the beginning of the show, you know that I'm actually going to be a guest on tomorrow's episode of Inebriated, which is a keyboard-themed stream, kind of like Top Clack, but it involves a lot of alcohol and drinking. So I'm going to be doing that at 6 p.m. Pacific time, so make sure to come check me out there, twitch.tv/Inebriated, spelled exactly how you think. I'll link it in the official Discord for Top Clack, of course, as well, so if you want to check it out, you can just grab the link from there. I'm going to be on the stream tomorrow, so I'm not going to have time for a build stream. I have that, and then I'm also going to be finishing my prep for the Seattle meetup, which is the next day, Saturday. So yep, going to be a little bit too busy tomorrow to do a build stream, and then next Friday is going to be the first official episode of Top Clack's Behind the Keyboard series, so that's going to be really awesome. I'm not going to share who the guest is yet. Going to keep it a little bit of a secret, so keep you guys all a little bit more on the edge of your seats, but look forward to that. Interviews finally coming back to Top Clack in a little bit more professional of a manner, which I've been looking forward to for a while now, so yeah, I'm going to try to find some time next week to do the build stream for the Southpaw Full Size, so that's going to be pretty awesome. Not going to be able to do it Friday, obviously, but hopefully another day. So look forward to that as well.
Awesome. Sounds great. Excellent.
Heck yes. All right, guys. So hopefully you enjoy the stream as much as we did. We always appreciate you guys coming in and hanging out. All the people that subbed, all the people that gift subbed, all the people that donate bits, that tip for alcohol for Jay and I. Even the people that just sit here and chill and watch, or maybe you spread the word and share it to your friends that we have a show here. Everything helps. Every little bit counts, and we appreciate it so much more than you probably realize. So thank you guys so much. Shout out to all of you in the chat, and we hope you have a fantastic rest of your day.
Thanks, guys.